Welcome to the Social Chameleon Show. It's our goal to help you learn, grow, and transform into the person you want to become. Today, I got Justin back on. It's been a long time, but he's back here. And we want to talk about the Bill of Rights. Do we still have them? In more of the lines of America and the U.S. here is where we are, what we understand, and what we live through. So the Bill of Rights, the first, I keep wanting to call them 10 Commandments, but the first 10 amendments is considered the Bill of Rights. Do we still have them? Where have we been and where are we heading with these rights? It seems, the first 10, they were established because when the first draft of the Constitution came out, the states were like, you know what, there's some good stuff here, but we feel like that this can still kind of go back to the way things were in the places we came from. And they asked for some extra provisions to make sure things were on the up and up. And that's where the Bill of Rights came from. This is not an academic exercise. I nor Justin are legal scholars. We're not stuff. This is not to be construed as legal advice. If you do dumb shit, that's your problem, not ours. This is more of an intellectual look from what Justin and I are seeing here in the U.S. and possibly what we kind of see abroad. We don't live abroad. We don't spend much time abroad, but in the news and social media, we do see some things abroad, some similar themes that seem to be going on here. I'd like to try as best as possible to keep this above board per se, not trying to involve conspiracy theories and stuff. Keep the discussion that we have in the focus of things that are right there on the open, things that everybody are seeing, not necessarily fringe per se, because each of our lives nowadays are so focused. It's really hard to say a general broad aspect of things, but as much as possible, I'd like to try and keep this conversation there. That way everybody can follow along. It doesn't, maybe, this isn't my life or this is not what I'm seeing. I'd like to hopefully try to keep this in the realm of what everybody's experiencing in an everyday kind of American kind of life and way. I don't know if you want any opening remarks, Justin. I know it's been a while since you've been on.
No, I appreciate you having me back on. It's been about 2 years now, I think, but it's been on an academic journey as well. And today's topic should be kind of interesting because a lot of interpretation, a lot of different ways to think about this.
Yeah, but there's a lot of nuance. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it can go either way. But no, I'll let you start.
No, yeah. So that's it. I just kind of open up that way, set the framework for what we're trying to look at this through and the lens we're doing this through. It's just what I've been seeing lately for the past several years. Maybe circa 2008-ish when I thought things really started to come to light when we went to economic downturn and we started kind of seeing a lot of that, the Occupy Wall Street kind of things and these different woke kind of things started coming up, universities and stuff, the fringe, coastal universities started coming up with different things. And we started to see the Bill of Rights kind of coming under fire a little bit, a few of the amendments and stuff. And as we've gone through those years, something, I don't watch a lot of news and stuff. I don't really consume this stuff. So I might not see as much as definitely other people do, but what I've seen, especially from the beginning of 2020, we're doing this end of April of 21. So, the whole COVID thing has kind of gone on. And what I've seen a lot through that really was what is kind of bothering me, especially as we've come into 2021 is these basic, a bunch of these basic amendments, these constitutional rights, the things that we really people have fought for, colored people have fought for, forefathers have fought for, a lot of people have fought for, a lot of our mothers and fathers have fought for, have seemed to be disappearing. And so I think this would be a great time to have a conversation on these and let, kind of everybody have the opportunity to start to look up and see, hey, you know what, a lot of my liberties I think I have are gone or going away. And I seem to be complicit in allowing that to happen. And that's what I kind of wanted to have this conversation about.
See, the thing is, I think you represent a lot of people. I think you have been noticing it circa 2008 since the advent of the smartphones.
Right.
Since the use of camera phones. Mm-hmm. Prior to all this, prior to the internet, a lot of these Bill of Rights, as you say, have been fading away, have been happening since the 60s and 70s, 80s. Right. Mm-hmm. It's only come to light now because it's being recorded, it's being videoed, it's being put out there on the web. And we're all in shock, like, oh my God, oh shit, this is happening. Our world is falling apart. It's been like this forever. See, you have to understand something. Of course, we're not going to go into conspiracy theories, but it just depends on how you define a conspiracy theory.
Right. Yeah.
I'll lay out a fact. The government exists for the government.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. They exist for their partners. They exist for their friends. At the end of the day, three things people have to understand that rule the world. And if you want to break it down domestically, it's still the same three things: power, money, influence.
Right.
Now, the Bill of Rights, in my opinion, was a novel idea. I think it was just something to get the people's vote behind and to say, you know what, in order for us to break away and become a country, a standout country, we need to have these things. We need to have these freedoms and whatever else. But to me, it's always been a bill of illusion because number one, how often is a foundation built on understanding the Bill of Rights laid out in the school systems? It's not. Yeah. We might learn it in a class here and there, possibly in high school, maybe once in intermediate. I don't know how the school systems are structured now. Hopefully they're teaching this more now, which it depends. I don't think they are. But because we don't have this foundation, we don't know what the Bill of Rights are. In truth, I come from a cop's family. Okay. I've grew up around the police department. There's a lot of police officers, even up here where I'm at in Arizona, that don't know the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't even know their own laws or statutes. Mm-hmm. They're winging it. So let me focus on the police department itself. And I'm not bashing on them. Look, hey, I'm a big supporter of the police department and whatnot. But I also, if you strip away the police department name itself, they're a business. And in every business, you're going to have some bad apples. You're going to have people that take shortcuts. You're going to have people that have come into the job that aren't physically or mentally capable to do the job.
Right.
You're going to have a lot of them that come in that don't put in the study work. You see, I learned this from my father. He read every statute. He studied every statute. He knew the law back of his hand. Wow. That gives him a leg up when it comes to promotions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out, police department officials out there that don't study these laws, these statutes. So when they go out there, they're speaking sometimes off of emotion. And me being in psychology, you see that a lot. A lot of them aren't built to handle pressure, but who is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Any job you work in, you get pressured too much, you tend to falter. You might know the Bill of Rights and then you just blank. Mm-hmm. And you infringe on somebody else's rights. But circling back to the Bill of Rights itself, so I'm not too far out there on the prairie, you know, a lot of people out here don't know what the Bill of Rights are, and they fail to understand that the Bill of Rights is actually a bill of interpretations. Mm-hmm. If it fits the, and I know this is wrong, but if it fits the narrative on the side of the government or the police department, it'll go that way.
Right.
It's sad, but it's true. It'll go that way. But as we break down each Bill of Rights, I think we're going to go through the 10, right?
Yeah, we're going to do the 10. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As we break down each one, you'll kind of see and understand. And I'm not going to provide specific facts. You can go find that on other shows that are very political. Like Tyson prefaced when he opened up the show, we're not political enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. We're normal citizens. We understand a good amount of things that deals with the law. And if not, we understand that we can go seek that advice or go research that advice because it's available to us on the web, or we have friends that can provide us that information that we need. But we're just going to give you our interpretation, and maybe it'll resonate with you. Maybe you'll sit there and go, oh, shit, you know what? I didn't see that happening. Or, man, this has been happening for a long time. Because sad to say, racism has never gone away. And for people who have thought that racism, sexism, whatever it is, has disappeared, we've only scratched the surface. Our former president, Donald Trump, and, you know, whether I like him or don't like him, the one thing he did as a president, as a leader, was create divisiveness. He didn't create clarity. He didn't take a stand on one side. He was on the side of racism and then on the side of standing up for what's right when he got pressured. Mm-hmm. And to me, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I want to put the best person in place that's going to lead our country in the future. That's all it is. I don't care, Democrat, Republican, neutral, black, green, purple. It's got to be the best person available. But then if you look what happened over the last 4 years and what's happening now, even with Biden, you start to see that it's a political show.
Yeah. Once
again, leading back to the bill of illusion. So I'm going to let Tyson go back onto I guess we'll break it down, 1 through 10, and we'll hopefully give you guys a better understanding of all this.
Yeah. And then to kind of double click down on what Justin was saying, this show is not about telling you what to do. We want you to go out and get some ideas, think about things, maybe pause a bit. Whoa, wait a second here. I was going along with what was going on and I never stopped to think. And a lot of us do it. It's really simple. It's, I think, part of human nature. We go along with the tribe, and then until something really either hits you at home or something blatantly is in your face, a lot of times we don't stop to think, and we don't stop to question the tribe or question our neighborhood or whatever it is. So this is what the show is. This is part of the show, and it's like, I want you guys to take a step back and just listen, and come at, we're going to come at it from our point of views. Each of us has got a different point of view. We've got different upbringings from each other and all of you. So there's going to be our lens on that. But that's the thing here, the Bill of Rights, it's supposed to guarantee us all certain freedoms and certain rights and clear limitations on government's power and really the lack of power. That was really the kind of the power behind the Constitution, kind of the genius of the Constitution. The founding fathers, they were a lot of historian buffs in there. There were a lot of guys that studied past republics, past monarchs. They were fans of the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and Epictetus, and they saw what was the demise of Rome and what was the demise of these cultures and these civilizations, not to mention those that were thousands of years before them, but where they had just come from. And that's where these things came from. This is what some of the resistance was initially, was we don't want these things to happen again. We want safeguards in place that give us all a base level of rights, and the government leaves us alone to be people and go off and do our things. That was why government was so small and so limited, and the power was left up to the state. In a state, maybe we don't want anything done. Ultimately, we want you as people and you as citizens to govern your neighborhood. We want the city states. You guys take care of yourselves. If you need a little bit something else going on, we'll step in as a state. If we see a bunch of states doing things, maybe we'll step in as a government. But for the most part, everybody go live your lives and be happy and marry. And that's really the basis for this whole Constitution. That's basis for the Bill of Rights. And that's I want to set everybody up with that. And also, I think a very common misconception, people think that these constitutional rights are everything for everybody. Justin and I, as citizens, do not have any constitutional rights against each other. Your employer has no constitutional rights to you. You are not allowed to say whatever the fuck you want in somebody's business. You're not allowed to carry firearms. You're not allowed to. These constitutional rights do not apply to private businesses. They do not apply from citizen to citizen. They only apply. Initially, it was from the federal government down, but now that there's been amendments and addendums and stuff to the Constitution, which also include the state now. So you only have these rights as far as the state and the federal government goes. You don't have these rights. Businesses do not have to adhere to these. There's different laws and rules that they have to apply to. So that's a common misconception. People think that they have these rights all the time, everywhere, at all times. And that is factually untrue. Go ahead, Justin.
No, and that's absolutely right. The problem I'm having too with where the world is right now is that, or the citizens of the U.S. is that some of them only know the broad strokes of the Bill of Rights, the broad definitions.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to pour through the amendments or the add-ons or whatever else to each amendment that happened. And that's why there's a lot of misconception, a lot of room for interpretation, as I keep saying. So Tyson made a very valid point. You guys have to understand that your rights are only bound to what's written on paper, what's written in law. Same thing when you go to a courtroom. It's not what you have, it's what you can prove, right? So keep that in mind as we go through this episode.
Yeah, and there's I'll have resources in the show notes for you guys. There's a good Netflix show. It talks about the 14th Amendment, but if you want to get an understanding of a lot of how this kind of works, it's a great show on Netflix you guys can check out. I'll link that in the show notes. And there's a good podcast that I'm aware of. If you guys have others, please let me know, and I'll take a look and add them in the show notes if they're appropriate. But it was what Trump can teach us about con law. Now, and that may be a loaded topic for some people, but if you get past, maybe if you just dislike Donald Trump. It is about it was Roman Mars, I believe, he's a famous podcaster, and a constitutional law professor. So they break down a lot of these things that we saw from throughout his presidency. A lot of these things, if you have questions, a lot of things, people that have a lot of common misconceptions, they break it down from a academic perspective as far as the law goes. So that's a great resource for you guys if you're interested in digging down a little bit more. And, don't be lazy. This doesn't take a lot of time. If you're interested, you're curious, or you feel like maybe you're being violated, or if you feel like things aren't kind of going the way maybe you remember, or maybe the way to think America should be, if that's where you are, take some time to just sit down and say, hey, wait a second, this doesn't seem right. And a lot of times what happens is we allow our rights to be infringed upon, and then it becomes a new normal. That's a great new word we have all suddenly invented. And then everybody's like, well, you had no problems with these before, so we make laws that aren't lawful, and then you follow them, so therefore you become imprisoned or you become fined or whatever it is. So you have to understand that too. You have to take a second to say, wait a second, I don't know if this feels right. And if you got time to fuck off on Instagram, you got time to look this up. It doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to be a scholar to look this stuff up. I'll link to a great site I found doing research for this that really spells this out in, there's no political agenda that I could find. I think it's actually for academic study. So there's coursework and different things like that, but it does a great job of breaking things down and linking to it and stuff. But this, that not knowing is not an excuse. It's not a defense. So just take a few moments to just make sure that, our rights aren't slowly being taken away. And that's where this comes from, is I feel like our rights are slowly being taken away and we're just bending over and allowing it. And we're just saying, well, if we want to do these things, we have to let this go. And we have to, if we want to do this stuff, we're going to give up some liberties here. And I don't think that's something we should be allowing. And I think this is a bad precedent to be setting.
I agree.
And so with that said, let's start with number one. I'm going to read the amendment. Forgive me, I'm not the best reader. And then we're going to go through a couple of points that maybe we see breaking down here, or maybe it seems like that amendment is just no longer even valid anymore. So number one is pretty famous, I think. And, I don't want to be cliche, but I swear, I feel like number one is there for a reason, So let me give you what it is first, and then we can discuss it a bit. So Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereforth, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So this is to me, this is the core basis of everything. If we can't have a civil discussion, if we can't have an open discussion between two or more parties, we cannot have a civil society. And when you take this away, this is what we get. We get people being canceled. We get this woke culture, this, that, and another. If you have something that I don't like or I disagree with, fuck you, shut up, go away. That is bad precedence. And we're allowing it. And I think this, like I said, and I think number one's there for a reason, because we have to have intelligent discourse between two or more parties so we can move forward in a free civil society.
See, the problem is that people are wrong on both sides.
Sure.
Politicians are wrong because they are suppressing your ability to assemble, to practice religion, to have freedom of speech. If you go across the web, you'll see numerous videos of this happening. Yep. Like I said, police interpretation. It's how they view things, how they see things, how the politicians see things, and how they come back and make bills to correct their mistake or their oversight on things. Also, the people that are marching. One clear thing you said was civil communication, right? Was the ability to sit down and have a discussion. But that's the problem. A lot of the people that are protesting don't have their facts straight. Yeah. Number one. Yeah. Number two, they don't know how to come together and sit down and talk and march without tearing down buildings, breaking into businesses. We've come a far way from the Million Man March. Yeah. You don't remember the Million Man March with Martin Luther King Jr. and all of them? 1 million people ascended on Washington, D.C. There was no riots. Nope. There was no breaking in. There was no violence. There was nothing. They sang. They had communication. They had talks. They were progressing the issue forward, even though the issue existed. Why? Because they understood that it takes time. Shit's not going to grow overnight. If you plant it today, it's not going to grow tomorrow. It's going to grow steadily if you cultivate, if you take care, or whatever else. Looking at the religion aspect of this, our country is not open-minded to multiple types of religion, which is why we suppress religion practices. 9/11 has put a major emphasis on Islamic and Muslims.
Yeah, the Muslim community. Yeah, right.
and how we view them, and we look at them automatically as terrorists, just like Mexicans. We look at them as terrorists, as drug dealers, as rapists,
as less than, right? Yeah.
As less than. When our country was not built on that. Our country was built on the opportunity to come here and explore freedom.
Yeah.
Opportunity to grow in your own space. But here's the other problem with, say, focus on the religion part. Religion is kind of like freedom of speech. You keep it to yourself. You pick the right times to talk and push it, right? And you let it just be. You don't force. But our country, we like to force. We like to force the Bible. We like to force our Christian and Catholic beliefs, because that's what the U.S. is centered on, is Catholic and Christian beliefs. And that's not what our country is. We're just slandering the countries, Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Iran. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Doing the exact same thing. But the narrative part of it is that a lot of these people just don't have the education or the background behind it, which is what we're living in right now. We're living in this society where don't go to school. Fuck it. Go out and be an entrepreneur. Well, I'm going to stray off the Bill of Rights just for a second.
Sure.
Look, not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Not everybody's built to be in college. But if you're going to go out there and get into the political stream, the activist thing, then you need to know your facts, not just one side of it. This is why education is important. But it's a blend of both worlds, where you are self-educating, but you're also getting an education. Because don't let all these gurus lie to you. They have financial backgrounds, they have all these education, and they want their children to go to school, but yet they tell you not to go to school. Why? Because that's part of the American culture. This is what they know they need to do in order to survive if they can't be an entrepreneur. So a lot of these activists are going out there and thinking they have these rights afforded to them. And the reason why those rights are taken away is because they're sheep. They're being misled. They're just like, yep. Whatever he said, she said, yep, that is 100% correct. No fact checking. Absolutely none. Because, that person's in a position of authority. This person's been an activist for 30 years. I believe in her. No. What if for 30 years they've been spinning the wrong message?
Yeah.
We've seen that firsthand in Hawaii. And I'm not trying to offend people in Hawaii. I'm part Hawaiian, and so is Tyson. But at the end of the day, it's about the whole truth and understanding the truth. But once again, here comes the complication. Anything that deals with the government, this is not a conspiracy, but anything that deals with the government, you're never going to get a full truth. You will get half a truth. And when the time is ready, you might get a little bit more, but not the full picture. Their job is not to give you the full picture. But what they're doing now, just like how we're going to go through this Bill of Rights thing, the government is systematically taking away your rights and making you solely reliable on them. And now, at some point, when you're dependent for money, when you're dependent for medical, when you're dependent for groceries, for everything, we are now just like China.
Yeah. Welcome to the United People's Republic of America.
Because the government has your rights. Look all this stuff up. They've had this plan, not just the U.S., but in general, to overthrow a country. They've had a plan of 8 things to get people back on quote unquote slavery. Slavery is not just a race issue, although it was a major connection to a race issue. Slavery is complete dependence on something else that you don't have control over. This is what's happening. So this First Amendment is very powerful. And I think just if people took the time to educate themselves and come to the table, like going back to the issue in Hawaii, if they had one voice, if they had
real quick. So Justin's talking about the Hawaiian people, the Native Hawaiian people, and their rights. For those of you aren't up on what he's trying to express.
Yes, the sovereignty issue, the Mauna Kea issue. I support all of that. I believe what had happened in Hawaii was wrong. But at the same time, do we really have the full picture of what happened? No. We don't know what deal was struck with who, why, when, and how. We do know that when the U.S. wants something, they will take it. That's just, but it's not just the U.S. alone. Power, money, influence. If what you have has a purpose for me and I feel it's a need, I will find some way to make it mine. I'm sorry. And if it's through bartering a deal or through stealing it, back then it was much easier to steal it. It is what it is. But what I'm trying to say is that I feel for the Hawaiian culture. I feel for my culture. I feel that if they came together, one voice, one body, no separation, no, that certain private school that likes to segregate, but they like to say they represent the people, because that's the problem with a lot of cultures. There's no one voice. Everybody has a better voice. Everybody has a better idea, but it comes down to power, money, influence, right? I have lineage, so I should speak for the people. No, it should be about narrative. If you have a clear-cut narrative and you can prove your narrative and you can fight for your narrative and you can take it to the courts and you can have consistent backing for the next 20 to 30 or 40 years, because that's what it's going to take, you will eventually win. Like Mauna Kea issue, for example, and people don't know about this, but okay, so they've been fighting over the mountain, Mauna Kea, because I guess the government, the state government wants to build a couple of telescopes up there. Now, there's a lot of environmental issues, whatever else, but ever since they've been protesting on the mountain, what a lot of people don't know is that the Supreme Court has taken away their land and voted 3-1 to allow access to other entities to that land. They took away those rights. People don't know that this is all front and smoke and
sleight of hand.
Yeah, sleight of hand, and you got to watch all this stuff. You just can't be solely focused on your march, your protest. There's got to be an end game to all of this. And I don't think a lot of this is thought out well. The Million Man March was thought out well. Yeah. Great purpose, great intent. We're far from that. I mean, this recent California riots and the ones up in, I think it was Florida or someplace, even here in Arizona, last year and a half was just, was pathetic. It started off with, we want to fight for the U.S. being racist, right? For treating African Americans bad. But yet a lot of African Americans who were marching were destroying African American businesses. That broke my heart. Yeah. These people that have worked their asses off to start their business from scratch, to keep it open through so many bad times, bad economic times, bad government decision times for 40, 50 years, to see it destroyed in a matter of 2 days because people forgot the message. It's not about proving the government is a bunch of racists. It's about, we're going to go out there and march, and these young dumbasses go out there and start stealing stuff. It's a crime of opportunity, right? Yeah. Ah, man. And then that's what doesn't give weight behind the Bill of Rights. Now the government's not focused on you marching. They're focused on, oh, you guys are rioting. Oh, shit, you guys are coming together and blocking a highway. They're standing on the freeway, won't let cars pass. How are you proving your point to people that aren't even part of the process? It just snows me, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And this goes back to the government knows that right here, the last line here, the right of people to peacefully assemble and petition the government to redress of grievances. So not only the government know once this turns violent, this is over, we can step right in. But what happens is, and I feel this I'm sure this is a public thing, and I'm sure this is not a conspiracy thing, because it's not a conspiracy. The government inserts people into these organizations to create a riot, to create disturbances, and therefore they can step in and disassemble these things. So this is where it goes back to, if you understand what's going on, if you have all I'm asking, I'm not talking about being a fucking constitutional scholar. We all need a base level of understanding and knowledge. If you can open a fucking Instagram account, if you can fuck up on TikTok, you can read, okay? And you can read for 5 minutes and say, what's going on here? What am I signing up for? My tribe is doing this. What are they doing? What are the bounds? What are we fighting for? Is this a coherent message? Can we make sure that these insurgents don't come in here from the government and turn this unpeaceful, so then therefore it becomes a riot, and therefore it becomes broken up, and then there's no clout, and everybody on the news is saying, look at these dumb idiots, here we go again, acting fools. You want to change your narrative as a culture? Well, we're going to make sure we don't allow that by inserting a few guys in some ski masks, and I'm pretty sure this is not some conspiracy theory stuff. But understand what's happening there, and this is how your rights are slowly whittled away.
See, I'm going to add on that. It's
Sure.
It's what I would like to call follow the money, FDM, follow the money, because you have to understand a lot of these big organizations have to be funded.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say which one, but there is one over the past year that was heavily funded by George Soros and the Clintons.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that weren't in line with what they were protesting about that were happening.
You mean going out and buying $1 million mansion?
A lot of bad things, a lot of weird circumstances. And like I said, I don't want to pinpoint the one group because we're going to catch a lot of flack for that, because that's the culture.
But that's okay. We have to be able to have these conversations in a protected way.
Look at the facts. I mean, look, go on the web and look. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
They are funded and backed by the Democrats.
By white billionaires.
And I'm not a Republican. I'm not making this a political thing. All I'm saying is money drives influence, power. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why things are done a certain way. Now, let's say 1,000 people come out to march. 500 of them might be there with a purpose to march for the right reasons. Yeah. And then there's about maybe 300-400 that are paid to be out there. Mm-hmm. Of course, do I have facts to prove this? No. Does anybody have facts to prove this? Probably not.
There is factual evidence that the government does send people in.
Exactly.
That is factual.
All I'm trying to say is it's not a black, white, brown, purple issue, though the Hispanic community and the African American community has been highlighted and bashed on for a long, long time. All I'm trying to point out is that our government, and this is probably evident in a lot of other countries as well, they're the puppet masters. Mm-hmm. And
you do see this in a lot of, Western European countries. You do see a lot of this, especially COVID has really highlighted a lot of these things in Germany and different places along those lines. France, there was a lot of problems with that. So these are not just solely American things, even though this is the lens that we see it through because this is where we live. But if you guys have stories or things in your culture, in your country, let us know about them. Leave them in the comments here on either on YouTube or on Facebook, whatever, and let us know. This is a global problem.
Yeah, I'm not anti-government. Look, I understand how this world works. I clearly do. Look, there's a time 2 or 3 years ago where people were saying, get rid of the police department and we can handle our problems with hugs and conversations. No, being a psychologist and understanding how psychology works, people are human. They're going to make human mistakes. They're going to do things that just you can't put a finger on or you can't really give an educational response to, which means it's unpredictable. Mm-hmm. I don't care how we get rid of the police department. Everybody's living in like the trolls, peace, love, and happiness. Mm-hmm. There's going to be 1 or 2 people that just want to kill something, that just want to do something bad. That's just human nature. Yeah. People have to understand that, grasp that concept. So I'm not anti-government, anti-establishment, anything like that. I understand how this world works. I understand that we're just an ant living in the ant farm. And there are some things that we can protest and talk about. And there are some things that we just can't talk about. We can't do anything about it. And we'll end up in jail or our rights taken away or police presence on us, FBI, all this other stuff. That's what makes it so scary to have, once again, Bill of Rights, number one, freedom of speech.
Right.
We have to worry about who's listening.
Yeah.
What if we said something that's off the cuff, kind of joking, maybe serious, but not really, and they take it as serious? And we don't make the news like China, where China, they got no problem saying, you know what, you speak against our government, we're going to take your fucking rights away. Fuck you.
We'll take care of you.
Over here, if you haven't noticed, a lot of TV shows like to put this in their shows when it deals with government or presidencies or whatever else, where if you slander the government too much, you'll disappear.
Yeah.
Something happens to you.
Yeah.
Think about that, people. That's what makes it so hard to really say, hey, you know what? I have freedom of speech. It's not like that. Yeah. It's like, who wants to speak up? Nobody wants to raise their hand.
Yeah.
Because you're afraid to get shot. You're afraid to
get canceled.
Crosshairs on you. Exactly. So the government has built this. And the only way this thing can stop, which is the scary thing, is if what happened to Rome. Rome fell because of corruption. And not a little bit of corruption. Look, corruption exists everywhere. People, wrap your heads around that. Corruption and evil is going to exist no matter what, because you need that to have balance in this world. You got to have that. I'm sorry. It's the lesser of two evils. It's not the lesser of two positives. It doesn't work that way. Okay. But the corruption in Rome, they started corrupting each other.
Yeah.
Greed became the blood, the precedents. And the sad part is, until Trump came into office, which I still think all of this is pre-planned. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not a conspiracy theory. It just seems pre-planned, predestined. But until he came into office, it kind of felt like our government was just self-consuming more than what it should be. And Trump was put in there to kind of reset, refocus, shift the mindset of people, right? So, like I said, we're just puppets in this giant game, and we don't know the playbook. We just, when they want to reveal certain things, it is what it is,
That's why if we don't know the playbook, you got to know the rules. And that's what it comes down to. So when these guys aren't playing by the rules, we need to be able to step up. We need to be able to assemble, petition, have this freedom and the confidence and the ability to not be fearful of our jobs, our careers, our families, to be able to speak our opinions.
Tactful.
You disagree or don't disagree, it doesn't matter. We need to be able to have these conversations. And that's why I think number one is foundational. And you can't, especially, the funny thing I look up at these people that are like having fun, the cancelers are becoming the canceled. And it ain't funny when it becomes your turn. So, eventually you're going to turn on this. It's going to turn on itself. And then it's not going to be fun anymore. But by that time, the game's over. It's too late. Our rights have been dwindled away so much. That's why you need to be able to stand up for what's right, have the confidence and abilities to speak and stand for what you know to be true. And there's going to be consequences sometimes. And if you believe in what you're standing for, because you know it's right and you know it's for the greater good, you can stand in confidence and say, it's okay. Take my body, take my stuff, but you're never going to take my mind. I'm never going to be a prisoner in my own mind. My body may not be free, but my mind will always be free. And you've got to understand that. And we got to bring each other together, and we've got to move forward and stop letting these things be infringed on. And maybe, maybe the next move is to get out of this country. That's something you also have to think about. Maybe it's better to go somewhere where you're treated a little bit better. And that may be something that's going to start to happen here in America. So something to think about.
Ego is the enemy, man.
Yeah.
Problem with that, it's a novel idea, but we breed and we cultivate ego. We push capitalism. We push the ideas of being number one. We push the ideas of being better than the other person. We push the ideas of being jealous. We push the ideas of racism because it's broken down by community. It's broken down by, this is all psychology stuff, man.
Yeah, it is.
And our country pushes that.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that.
Yeah.
We want you to be construction workers. We want you to have kids at a young age. which is why we give you Tonka toys, which is why we, since the 80s and 70s, giving you little babies with carriages, right? Because we want these little girls to think, hey, I want a little baby too, right? And then we complain, the government complains about the problem of overpopulation. So what do? We fix it.
Yeah.
But that's prevalent in any country you go to, except over here, they do it with the smile, they do it with the dance, they give you a little bit of dinner, and they twirl around you. Other countries just straight up, fuck you, goodbye.
Yeah,
they don't hide shit. There's no mixing of words. So just as they say, stay woke, right? Keep your eyes open, right? Yeah, I'm down with the lingo now. That is terminology.
Oh boy, these woke people.
But this cancel culture, just going to tidbit on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
This cancel culture, people have to understand this. This leads to the number one, the freedom of speech and everything else. Look, somebody said something 20 years ago. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You can't sit there. What's that whole thing about the Bible? Us Christians and Catholics like to repeat to everybody else, he who has no sins cast the first fucking stone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I remember the one joke where Jesus said that and somebody still threw a rock at Mary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but the thing, we're just looking for a reason to give somebody shit, to feel good on the internet. I have no self-esteem. I have no worth in this world. I sit in my room and I can go on the internet and I can end your life and I can end your career. And then it suddenly makes me feel cool. I've got a bunch of social media points and here I go, tick up my little invisible score, and now I'm cool.
Because people are stupid.
Yeah.
People are stupid. I'm going to keep saying that. They're gullible. They believe whatever they see on the fucking net. Perfect example. I just read a story about this last week. There was a thing last year, I think 2 years ago, with Jason Momoa. And a picture circulated of him in Hawaii doing the Aquaman release in Ward Theater. And he was holding his daughter, and the person who leaked the video and everything else made a claim that Jason Momoa was inappropriately touching his daughter. And it showed the video, the hand rubbing the daughter's chest like this, right? Well, after he got slammed in the media for about a week or a couple of weeks, whatever it is, truth came out that it was a doctored video. That the guy who put the video out was just a troll. He just wanted to end somebody's career. So Jason Momoa followed suit, went out of his fucking way to find this guy and take everything from him, sue him, the whole fucking 9 yards. People, don't always believe what you see on the net.
Yeah.
There are two sides to every story, but we want to
There's three.
There's
your
three.
side, my side, and the truth.
We want to jump when somebody we admire, some sports figure, jumps on one side of the train. We're like, you know what, he's right, we're going to jump with him. Or we jump on it because we're utilizing other issues previous to that. Like, for instance, the girl, the young girl that just got shot by I think it was the Cleveland Police Department. The video came out. Look, yeah, she's an African American girl, and yeah, she was shot and killed by a white cop. But look at the video. Look at the body cam video. She was wielding a knife and was about to stab somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. He saved many people's lives. Yeah. I see. And
look, like I said, I'm not anti-cops. Yeah. I'm not racist. I'm not anything like that. I'm just saying, before we judge a situation, let's gather the facts. Let's look at everything and go, okay, fuck, what happened here? Mm-hmm. You know, what is this really a race-driven issue? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that has to come out. So, like I said, this First Amendment is very important, but I've always felt that it's been fringed upon. It's been slowly sucked out of our culture, and it's the government's fault and it's our fault. Yeah. Just if people want to take responsibility or accountability for this, we're losing our own rights because we're allowing it to be lost, mm-hmm. right? So
yeah, every time we sit by and we let it happen, and it's okay this time. And you know, the latest thing now is it's safety, and that's the thing that we keep. It's just keep safety. There's laws trying to be passed. I don't know if they've been passed. Like I said, I don't follow up on this, but they're trying to outlaw groups of more than 2 or 3, and they're calling that. You know, so there we go. Here we're trying to make laws that are infringing on your right to assemble. You know, we're trying to make laws on these things. We're trying to make laws on what you say, huh?
Mm-hmm. No. I was just saying these politicians. Yep.
Yeah, right. So this is real things. You know, they're trying to make laws to stop people from getting together. And you know, it's funny. The one thing I had seen on, I think it was in Kansas. It shows you the intent of the law when you see the highlights of it. It was saying something about, you know, if 3 or more people get together and it becomes a crime, and you also lose 3 months of your benefits for your EBT and stuff. Who is this after? Who is this law intended for? The poor people.
It's an agenda.
Right. So the people that don't have EBT, they can go out and protest. They don't care, right? But no, I can't go now. I can't fight for my rights. I can't fight for the things I have grievances on because I'm worried about not getting my food stamps for 3 months because I'm in a crowd of more than 3 people.
Slavery. We are dependent
on the government.
On the government. Look at Georgia. Yeah. Georgia lost the Republican representation because they failed to understand the power of movement. Yeah. That all of these African Americans, these Latinos that never voted before, are going to come out and vote because they feel that they're being fucked with. Mm-hmm. And what is their response? Instead of applauding the next generation, the future, they go out and make these restrictions that says you can't give people water in line when they're voting. Yeah. Once again, like how you're saying, come together with X amount of people. Mm-hmm. Can't do that. They're trying to restrict how you vote because they say, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy because you didn't understand how many people didn't vote before. Mm-hmm. How many people didn't give a shit? Because guess what? There's a lot of Americans that just don't give a fuck. Yeah. They sit here and go, you know what? I really don't care who's president because it's going to be the same BS over and over and over again. But there comes a point in time in history when you just had enough. Mm-hmm. You're like, you know what? I understand they're going to wipe their feet on me. That's fine, whatever else. But when they start kicking me, I'm done with this asshole. I'm done. That's why they came out in droves and voted. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to restrict them. And every other city, we don't want an LA riots. Well, you know what? LA did it wrong. Mm-hmm. And they've admitted that. They handled that whole situation wrong. They were ill prepared and they underestimated the response. But because of that incident, it lays precedence for these other cities and counties and states to make these asinine restrictions and laws. And it just really makes it look like we're in a communist country.
Yeah, it's very evident with COVID. It shows how quickly we all bow down and we let it happen. And there's been a couple governors that have come out and said, oh, Bill of Rights, we weren't concerned with that. It was all about safety. And that's the new word I keep hearing. If it's under the guise of safety, like my friend loosely saying, Mike Rowe said, safety third. Look that up if you're interested in what that is. But it makes people feel better. Oh, you're just a horrible person. We're not worried about my safety. You're not worried about my kids. And it's hard to be like, of course I'm worried about like kid safety. Like you can't not, but that's like that straw man argument. And then you feel stupid. And then as soon as you start defending yourself, you've just lost, They call you a Nazi. You've just lost. You try to defend, well, I'm not, I have black friends. Like you just can't win that game.
It's a bill of illusion, man.
Yeah, right. And the more we sit by and we let this stuff happen, we let these laws go and we let these things pass. Let's move on to 2.
Yep.
Because I think 2 is what backs up 1. So, number 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A lot of controversy in this. I'm not trying to be a scholar on it, but you can't defend 1 if you get rid of 2. We can't assemble. We can't become a militia. We can't fight back against oppression, against the government if we have no weapons. Like President Biden just said the other day, listen, hey, no amendment in the Constitution is absolute. If that ain't fucking troubling words, I don't know what is.
It's not absolute because if you think about it from, I guess, an academic perspective or from now, look how long ago it was written. At some point, any organization, their founding bylaws, whatever else, are subject to change because times have changed, things have changed. Now, my issue with this thing is that there's a lot of stupid people that shouldn't be owning guns.
Sure.
I think better regulations and better training is needed before people can get a gun. Mm-hmm. I'm all for people owning guns. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's not guns that kill people. It's idiots. People.
Yeah.
And sometimes, to be honest, like I said, studying psychology, a lot of it is mental health illness. A lot of it is pressure from stress, from things failing and whatever else, and they just have access to the weapon. So even if they pass qualifications, even if they are the most certified and most qualifiable person to own a weapon, it's unpredictable. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. But my problem with this whole thing is how the government, along with big business, push agendas.
Yeah.
And, not every state allows you to have a weapon. Look at Hawaii. You can't own a gun. And
it's hard, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, basically our Bill of Right number 2 doesn't fucking exist out there.
Mm-hmm. But if you understand the Constitution, you would understand that's a violation of the Constitution and that law is not valid.
Exactly. But if you try to prove that, you're going to
have a hard time, and you're going to
because why? Over the centuries, it's been a one bubble thing, and then it's breaking down by state, by city, by county. And my issue, like I said, is just how these certain things have come about. Like all of a sudden, these shootings and these deaths and all this other stuff, these mass murders, just seems, it's all timing to me. And like I said, follow the money.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
It's all timing on how these issues come about and when it gets addressed. Mm-hmm. And what they try to do to solve the issue. Just recently, we've had several more shootings and more killings over the last, I think, 3 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. And right in line with Biden's agenda with the weapons and everything else.
Interesting. He already had an agenda on the issue that hadn't happened yet?
No, it's an existing thing that's been carried throughout. And sometimes, I mean, like I said, maybe this sounds like conspiracy or maybe it doesn't, but I always believe things center on money. Things center on power, money, and influence. And I sometimes think that when government threatens, because it's always been threatening, when they threaten to take away your amendment, right? Your right to bear arms, it kind of feels like they're turning the tourniquet on the NRA or these other gun-toting organizations to get a little bit more scratch. I don't know. That's just how I think, because the government owns the ship, sells the ship, builds the ship. They can do whatever the fuck they want whenever they want. They don't got to tell us anything. Mm-hmm. And I can remember as a kid, all the way up until now, I'm 40, of issues of them talking about taking away your gun rights, but they've never done it.
Well, that's the thing. It's a little bit every so many years. It's a little here. It's a little there. We'll just shave off the top. We'll just keep shaving off the top. And you don't notice it. Like you ever notice, man, things like when we were kids, and the Reese's things used to be a little bit bigger. Bottles used to be a little bit bigger. We'll take a little out. We'll take a little out. The bottle's the same size. We'll take a little out. Look at the thing. Ice cream the other day. I was like, this container looks kind of small. And I'm like, holy crap, this thing's about half the size it used to be. But a little off the top every single year. The container gets a little different. Because
it's business and money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a reaction to economics.
Yeah.
That's how this goes.
Yeah.
So if you had 16 fluid ounces of ice cream, whatever it is, right, you're going to get probably 15 fluid ounces of ice cream, because that 1 ounce out of every container is going to save them a lot of money. It's millions of dollars, but they're not going to post that. And they're going to give you the exact same container, except they're going to put 15 ounces.
Yeah.
And you don't know any better, because just like, this is a perfect, good thing you brought this up. This is perfect, because when you go and get your little ice cream and you open it up, how many of you actually read everything on the ice cream?
I usually do for the first time I've tried that ice cream, and then after that.
But if it's a familiar ice cream to you, someone you've been eating all the time, don't you just like, fuck, I want that ice cream. Oh, you take it off. Yep. You just start fucking going at it, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing when they write bills. It's the same thing when the government passes all this legislation and stuff. Mm-hmm. Who sits there and reads what's on the stimulus bill?
Nobody does.
That's what government is counting on, because look,
5,000 pages for a reason.
The reason why we can call it government lingo or lawyer lingo or the way things are written is because they're relying on these woke people to not read.
Yeah.
You're going to go and say, you know what? I want to know what's on this fucking stimulus package. Oh shit. 3,000 pages. Do they have an abbreviated version? No.
Yeah. Is there an audiobook?
Is there an audiobook? No. Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not going to read. And all of a sudden if you pour through the bill, you're going to see stuff like, oh, China gets X amount of money.
Yeah.
Iran gets X amount of money.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. They are the puppeteers and we are they're the puppet masters and we're just the fucking puppets. Yeah. At the end of the day, all of these bills, if you take the time to read and actually break down the lingo, you're going to find out that if you ever watch James Bond and the Quantum of Solace, where they're all sitting, all these rich power brokers are sitting in this theater and the opera's going on, but they're conducting business. That's what's going on in these bills. They are communicating to each other that, no worry. Russia, what you want? No worry, I'll fit that in this next bill. Iran, what you need? No worry. We're going to say it's for coffee cans. No worry, nobody's going to know any better. And they write it into these bills. Next thing you know, the $3 trillion that they passed, only $1 trillion of it, or 1.5, is for the U.S.
Yeah.
The rest of it is partitioned off, and it's a little bit so you don't notice. It's it's a little bit here, it's a little bit there, right?
Yeah, 25 million for you, 50 million for you, not a big deal.
This is how business works, and people look. It's wrong, and I know you guys want a perfect government, but here's the honest to God truth. That's how the world operates. Peace is
and the thing too, we are allowing it.
We've always allowed it because we don't understand it. We don't know better from it. Look, these politicians that vote to get into office, that say the right things to get into their first term, they might have great intentions at first. They might have powerful things they want to back and do, but this is how it works. And you see this in the lowest form possible in high school. Yeah. It's government. You go in there, you have a voice, but you're going against 50 other seats. How strong is your voice?
Yeah.
What do you need to make your voice strong? You need allies. Mm-hmm. You need time. You need power, money, influence. People bitch and complain. Oh, Pelosi and Biden, all these guys and Schumer have been in office for 40 fucking years. Guess what? They've been in 40 years to get what they need to get done because it took them 30 years to do it.
Right.
You need to join these. This is how the world operates. Oh, we don't want a Clinton in office. Well, guess what? They have a Putin in office. They have the person in Iran. I forgot his fucking name. They got Syria. All these guys, Bashir. All these guys are just like Clinton, but worse.
Yeah.
But we want a perfect president. We want somebody in there that's going to be like Jesus and have a shining light. It doesn't work that way because why? At the backbone of government, at the backbone of every country, anything that's ever passed, whether it's small business or big business, is corruption. Money has to be passed through some sort of dirty hand so that the business can thrive. And what comes out of that business? Possible more jobs, better economies. So let's not piss on everything, people. Let's understand how this fucking world works. Mm-hmm. And if you don't believe me, you think we're just full of shit, go read.
Yeah.
I like to tell people, prove me wrong. Find me a fact. Don't give me no Washington Post bullshit. Yeah. Don't give me no fake ass website. Give me something legitimate if you're going to create an argument.
Yeah.
I want facts, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. We got to be careful, when these things are heavily politicized, they're heavily on the news and what's happening behind the scenes. So a lot of times, especially in the past, there's suddenly this crisis that's going on. There's suddenly this uprising up all of a sudden. And then in the whispers you hear, oh, we passed this bill, by the way, when nobody was fucking looking. It's like the magician's greatest trick. Look over here, guys. Oh, let's slide this under the thing. So that's when you got to be careful with these, not to diminish what's happening and it has happened and will continue to happen. These mass shootings and these different types of things and these outrage and all this shit. There's a deeper thing happening and the wool is being pulled over our eyes. And like I said, I go back to, hey, it's about safety. We want our children to be safe. So we take away all your fucking guns so you can't do anything to us. You got to be careful here. This is a slippery, slippery slope.
Yeah, like I used to say, if you really want to know what's going on in the world, go look at the news at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Because I'll be honest. When I used to work security, and on the television, I used to work the overnight. You would see one thing happening in the daytime, And then all of a sudden this one thing comes on the ticker real quick, right? Passes you right by and say, hey, wait a minute. What deal is this? That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. And then you find out later on, as an example, people want proof. All the wars that we've gotten involved in recently, all these little conflicts, I'm not going to call them wars because wars involves multiple countries, but all these conflicts in Syria, North Korea, Iran, Iraq, go look it up. It all deals with the world banks. This is not crazy shit. This is honest to God truth. There are no world banks there. And the other thing too is with the Iraq thing. Iraq at one point wanted to get off of the petrodollar. They wanted to go on their own dollar. You don't do that. Power, money, influence. You don't do that. And that's why we got into these conflicts. And it's out there. There is facts on this, that the whole thing in Syria that was started by Israel was to kick off a plan that's been in place for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, you can look up official documents on these things.
There's official documents. Yeah. There's videos. There's one in particular where this retired general went back to the Pentagon to do a conference, and one of his buddies who's still in the Pentagon said, hey, did you see the paperwork? Man, the thing in the Middle East got approved. We're going to go for the plan. And he's like, oh, you can't tell me that. That's classified. I'm no longer part of the Pentagon. He's fuck, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Look, I'm a firm believer in this, and you can call it a conspiracy or whatnot. I know we're not trying to go down this route, but I'm just a big believer that nothing happens without a reason. And in the U.S. government, they've got things planned well in advance. We got to be stupid to sit here and say, no, we weren't prepared for that.
Don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Right. So, perfect example, gas prices. Gas prices right now, we're blaming Biden for this. People understand this.
He doesn't make gas.
The gas issue is a problem that's been building through the past 4 presidents.
But not even that. You can just.
It's a private issue.
Right. It's you can even just say it's a COVID issue because people weren't driving anywhere. So they stopped fucking drilling for oil. So when you stop drilling for oil, supplies go down because we didn't need supply. Hey, what does this sound like? Oh yeah, supply and demand. So what do they do? There's no demand for gas because nobody's driving anywhere because we're all have to stay in our houses because that's about safety. And so they stopped drilling. And then, people started going out and started doing stuff. So do they open back up the rigs? No. They let oil prices have fallen too far. We got to let the demand come up. And then guess what happens? Then gas prices go up. Well, if you don't like it, talk to your congressman.
It's called economics.
Yeah, go buy some futures.
People don't want to study economics.
No, there's a great book. You don't have to. It takes, I don't know, a couple of days maybe at the most to read it. It's called Economics in One Lesson. I think I'll link to the book. It's a great book. I tell you, if you get your head out of your ass about economics, it'll bring all this into light. You'll stop wanting to raise the minimum wage. You'll stop wanting to fuck over everybody. It really will open your eyes. It doesn't take a degree in economics to understand this stuff. It's really simple.
I'll also read Thomas Sowell, Sowell. He is the foremost expert on economics. This guy is the top of the platform.
Send me that and I'll link that in the show notes.
Thomas Sowell, Sowell. He is, like I said, the person you go to if you really want a foundation. Go try to read his book. It's about 600-700 pages, but it breaks down every single thing. And then he has a secondary book called Economic Fallacies. And it's honest to God truth because people don't understand how supply and demand work. They think that it's an automatic knee-jerk reaction. It's not. This shit, it takes time. Yeah. It trickles down. It's going to affect somewhere, somehow, somebody, because why? Businesses need to survive. And when we've been through something that we've never been through before, such as a pandemic, they're feeling their way. All these businesses are feeling their way out because they're trying to find a way to survive. Look in Hawaii, the car prices to rent a car for a day is $500 to maybe $1,000 a day, when it used to be $60-$50 a day. And they say, if you call the companies, they'll tell you it's a supply and demand issue. Now, I get it, but I don't get it because why? Their company doesn't sell cars. They supply vehicles that they own, unless they lowered their fleet, which doesn't make sense to me because they are a rental car thing and they don't have to run their vehicles. They can keep it, but whatever, it's supply and demand. They're going to use that as as their reason.
Yeah.
But people, if you're going to make a comment about president this, president that, once again, leads back to what Tyson said about the First Amendment, communication. Get your facts straight. Study a little bit. Don't be afraid to be one of these non-woke individuals and go to school.
I encourage people, don't be woke. That's not a good thing to be.
Well, because the people nowadays,
you want to be awake, you don't want to be woke.
It's like this. Everything leads back to psychology, which is why mental health, the study of it is such an infancy stage.
Yeah.
Look, they're trying to find an identity. It's not a millennial. It's not an Xbox. It's not whatever you want to call it. This generation of now, which stems between the age of, 18 and 30, they're trying to find their footing. They're trying to plant their flags, build their castles. Well, a lot of them don't know what they're building with because they don't want to know how to build it. That's the problem. They don't know how to face their issues. They don't know how to go out and make a living. I'm not saying work a 9 to 5. I'm saying build something sustainable. And as me and Tyson are a big advocate for this, sustainability comes from education.
Yeah.
It's self-taught or through my route through academics. Either way, the one common ground between an entrepreneur, a self-taught person, and straight traditional academics is books. Gotta fucking read. If you guys read, you guys will start to piece things together. It's not just being told to you. Now you're grabbing multiple things. It's like back in the day when me and Tyson was trying to do options trading. They had this thing, this is one company, I don't know, it was Investopedia or InvestTools.
InvestTools, yeah.
But they're doing the same program now that a lot of these other multi-level marketing programs are doing, which is they're giving you 3 indicators. And if 2 out of the 3 indicators are saying the same thing, then that is the truth. That's what you're going to go after, where you're going to put your put, you're going to put your sell, whatever it is. If you don't understand stocks, don't worry about it. You can look it up. But it's the same thing in life. Go research if you don't understand and find 3 sources and make sure 2 validate what you're thinking or what you're not thinking. Make sure 2 are validated. That'll give you all the truth in the world, So all this ties together, I promise you. But
it does.
As far as number 2 goes, I just see where this country is going. And at some point, if the guns are taken away, which I don't think it will.
No, it's going to be real hard to get one.
It's going to be hard. Yeah. But if they do, it's kind of like them forcing us to mass vaccinate.
Yeah.
There's an agenda. There's no more freedom.
There's already an agenda with this.
There's no more freedom. But as far as the vaccinations are going, they're not saying you have to take it or you're going to go to jail. Yeah. You have to take it or you can't travel. They're not saying that, but it's getting close.
But what they're saying is if you don't take it, you can't do any of these things. Do you like concerts? Then you get a vaccination. Do you like traveling? Get a vaccination. Well, if you don't like those things, don't worry about it. It's just safety.
It hasn't gotten there yet. There's been
that's
talk.
What they're saying.
No, there's been talk, but the president and the governors have backtracked from that point of making it. Yeah. You have to do it because why? If they do that, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. But see, what this goes back to is that doesn't stop private businesses and individuals from enforcing these. You can make your own rules.
Exactly. Interpretation.
Here in Arizona, they got rid of the mask mandates and all that shit. 50% of places maybe are still like, you want to come in here? I want to check your temperature. I want to know. Right. I want to know where your family's been. I want to know where your dog's been. I want to know where your kids have been. I want you to put a mask on. Some places are like, fun. Just go shop around and enjoy yourself.
It's interpretation, though.
Yeah.
See, the problem is the governor, just like our government, wasn't clear.
Yeah.
He didn't get rid of the mask thing. He just said it's not required. But if you want to require it, you can. That is...
yeah. But that goes back to it. Private businesses can do what they want. And that's the thing people don't understand as well. I mean, within reason, there are some laws, but constitutionally, there's no protections there.
Well, the hard part with that is that would be true if the governor didn't shut down all these certain establishments over the course of the pandemic. Because if private business really had the type of power that you're speaking of, then they would have opened up and said, fuck you, kiss our ass.
Well, a lot of them stayed open and a lot of them...
They tried to, and they got They got slammed.
Walmart never closed. Target never closed.
But they're not on the list.
Never closed.
They weren't on the list.
It's up to some arbitrary person to make up an arbitrary list about what can cap.
It's not an arbitrary person. It's the government.
Right.
The governor said no restaurants, no movie theaters, no gyms. Now, what you're saying as far as private business having a certain amount of power, then those three entities could have stayed open.
And they should have.
But it comes down to broad strokes, right? At the end of the day, Walmart, Fry's, all these other companies constitute as a business that is a necessity to stay open. Look at Lowe's. They are, if you just look at it, they are just a business. They are a private business selling merchandise. In the eyes of the government, they are a necessity. Because why? The type of merchandise they sell. So the hard part I have with how this whole pandemic and our governor and everything else has handled everything is really the narrative. They are not crystal clear, and then they backtrack. As the governor or as the president, you come out and say, look, this is how this shit's going to go. Okay. No more masks in Arizona. No more masks. That is the law. Done. No interpretation. No. But if a business wants, because why? You create confusion, then you create incidences that lead to some sort of legal lawsuit. Look at Trader Joe's out here 3 weeks ago. A guy came in with no mask, even though policy outside the store clearly states you're going to shop in our establishment, you have to have a mask on. He went in there, and I personally think he went in there to pick a fight. He went in there, and that's what some of these fucking people do, is they go in there to create a scene and make some sort of statement. And he went in there and he picked a fight with the employees who told him, hey, dude, we're just saying you can shop here. You can buy whatever the fuck you want. Just, this is our house. This is our rules. And the governor allowed us to put this as mandate for our store. If you don't like it, don't shop in our establishment. And he didn't. He put up a fight and it made the news. This is the problem I'm having with our governor and our government. They're not firm-footed. So it leaves a lot of room for interpretation. I keep saying that, room for interpretation. And to be honest, there's a lot of stupid people out here that need to have it crystal clear, to the bone. Fuck, here it is.
And then to me, that goes back to one, we're worried about speech. We're afraid to speak. We're afraid to talk because, I don't want to offend these groups. I don't want to make like I'm not about safety. I want to make, so this is where we're afraid to speak, when we're afraid to share our opinions or say our thoughts or tell people, listen, this is fucking America. You're free to do what you want. Take care of your body, put whatever you want in your body, as long as you're not harming others. That's how this country has been. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what these things are designed for. And when we, I think this kind of comes back to things, when we allow these things to slowly erode, and we do this under the guise of safety, it's an emergency, it's this, and we allow this power to suddenly become given to these people, it's going to be tough to give it back. And then when you're scared to talk and you're scared to say things and you're scared to do things, this is when things get difficult. And that's what, what it comes down to.
Lack of respect. Look, I agree with you. People have the right to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it, as long as it's respectful to other people.
Yeah.
That's just my thing. If you want to piss on a bush that's not near my house, that's fine. But if you come inside my house and try to piss on my wall, because some people like to do that. Mental health is just human nature. It's not right. And you can't sit here and claim your rights, because I have rights too. You're infringing on my rights. So it's a full circle thing. But what's number 3?
So number 3 is probably not relevant. Something probably I don't think I've ever heard of, but we'll go through 3 real quick here. So 3, I think this is just kind of dates the time that this was written, but no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. I don't understand what that means. But boy, does this feel like COVID-19. Stay in your house and don't go outside. Not what it's about. I'm just joking.
You ever seen the movie The Patriot?
Many moons ago, yes.
Well, I think it leads to that where where Mel Gibson, he was no longer part of the war, part of the insurrection or anything else. He was retired. And there was war on his land because it was just leading through the country, right? The British and the uprising. And he was taking care of both sets of soldiers. And there were times where some soldiers just barged their way into other people's homes. And there were some times where people kept them as prisoners, you know, and we're no longer in that time period. So this one we can kind of just brush over because war happens abroad now. Yeah. And we're not dealing with this Bill of Right at all in the current process.
Very interesting how they wrote that in. But so let's go on to 4 here. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Boy, there's some academic, scholarly things on this. The thing here that scares me is we have found some ways around this. And I'm telling you, I think the theme of this is safety. It really, when you say safety, nobody wants to dispute you. So what I'm talking about is exigent circumstances. If somebody was kidnapped or there seems to be a threat, they've found a way to say, fuck the 4th Amendment. You have no rights, and we're coming on in, and we're taking your shit. And it's scary, and we allow it, and we continue to allow it. And this is being more and more infringed upon, where they're trying more and more ways. And this kind of goes back to also part of 2. They want to be able to take your guns now. If one of your neighbors or friends or cousins or social Facebook friends thinks maybe you're having a bad day, we're going to come take all your shit, and you have to prove your innocence because you're guilty until proven innocent. So this is a thing that's happening. This is part of one of the Biden's executive orders. We'll take your shit until you can prove you're safe and sane. So those are a couple of ways that I know of, not a lawyer in any way, I know of that circumvent right around search and seizure. And not to mention, I mean, the shit people make up. And, you know, it's like, I smelled last week that you were doing something, so I'm going to come out in your house. And because of whatever, this, that, and another, people are online. It's a thing. I don't know how much it still happens where it's called being swatted, where, you know, something doesn't happen. I call a SWAT team and say something's happening in your house, and they just bust on in and they look around and do what they want. So this one it's scary. So if you don't have 2, you can't have 1. 4 is out the window. You can't defend yourself, and you can't stop these things from happening.
The problem with this is, like I said, I grew up in a cop's family. I know a lot of police officers, and a lot of them like to defend their brothers in blue because that's just what they're taught to do. It's protect the profession. Protect the profession first, and then we'll deal with the consequences afterwards. But like I mentioned earlier at the start of this thing that we're doing this episode, everything is room for interpretation, number 1. Number 2, the advent of the internet and the smartphones and the cameras things have just brought all this to light. Look, there's a lot of corruption in the police world. A lot of it is coming to light now, but it's been going on, and you see it in movies, you see it in TV shows. And if you think that's some fake shit, guess what? These writers are grabbing inspiration from someplace. Yeah,
there's some good documentaries. Was it the 5-7, the New York thing? That was really good. And a couple others like that are real things that happened.
Look, it's all over the web. Look in New York. There were precincts where cops were back in the 70s and 80s. They were running drugs for fucking mafia members. Because why? And this is where I sympathize with the police officers. They're not paid well enough. When you don't pay them well, and they live in a city where crime is high, cost of living is high, what the fuck do you expect them to do? They have babies on the way. They have bills. Oh, I know. Well, they should uphold the law and protect the law. Well, you know what? If you were financially pinched and your job was extremely stressful, where you don't know if you're coming home at night because you don't know who to trust, because the corruption went up and down the chain. It wasn't just the lower tier guys. These are guys that had aspirations of becoming politicians. These are guys that have aspirations of becoming the chief of police, the head honcho. Okay. Or, hey, the senator's my friend. Well, the senator can pull this off for me. Power, money, and influence. What do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
Huh? They get an offer that they can't refuse. It is what it is. But recently, perfect example. Look at this. I think it was a couple of days ago. This sheriff drove home this African American male. I guess African American male couldn't get into his house. Was being kicked out wherever else. So he was on the phone, a cordless black phone, and he came out with the cordless black phone. And the cop who just dropped him off mistook that for a gun and shot him.
Oh, wow.
Put not just one bullet, several. Where the cop should have been, hey, you know what? Put it down. Let me see it. What is that? What? Shoot first, talk later. Okay, this all leads to what we're talking about with this thing about seizures. Look, you see it in Law and Order. You see it all over the place on TV. I've seen it in real life. If it fits the narrative of what they're trying to do, they will justify it. That's how some police departments work. I'm sorry. And if all the police officer friends of mine get pissed off with that, well, stop and look in the mirror. Ask the truth, because it's not like I'm speaking from an agenda. It's not like I am coming from a background where I don't know police officers, where I didn't grow up in a cop's family, all right? I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of times where if it fits their assumption, or if it corrects their mistake, right? Mm-hmm. They will find a way to circumvent the law, to circumvent your Bill of Rights until they get caught, until they come across an individual who I think I saw was about 4 years ago. They pulled over this one dude who was a lawyer, but he didn't dress like a lawyer. He dressed like one of us. And he had him on camera and he says, hey, I'm a lawyer. I know my rights. And he started spitting out the rights. The cop just went, oh, fuck. He knew he was wrong. Mm-hmm. But the problem with these police officers, with these FBI agents, it has to fit their narrative. It has to fit their assumption. It has to correct their mistake. Or because I'm the law, I can do whatever the fuck I wanted to. Yeah. But guess what? This goes further up the ladder. And you can call it conspiracy because people like to put labels on this when they don't want to see the truth. Mm-hmm. This goes up to big government with other countries. Mm-hmm. If we want to illegally enter a country, we need a good reason to enter that country. So guess what? Little war here, little drug over the border there, little scratch there. Hey, fits our narrative. Now we have a story that we can sow and sell to the American public that justifies our action. We are legally seizing, grabbing whatever shit. 2 years ago, I heard that if you traveled into a certain, I think it was like, I don't know, it was Vegas or Colorado or someplace, where you had cash on you and it was your own cash. Let's say you had bank receipts for it. Mm-hmm. The cops will take it and say, oh, it's drug money.
Yeah, right.
Seize that money from you and you'll never get that back because you know why? That money goes to their funds. I have seen videos on cops in Texas, in these small podunk towns in Texas, that intentionally go after people they know, not family they grew up with, but parolees that they know who are clean, who are trying to do the right thing, live the right way. Mm-hmm. Just so that they meet their quota. Fucked up. Yeah. That's why people don't trust the police. That's why people want to defund the police. Yeah. Now, I'm against defunding the police. I think that you get what you pay for. Yeah. If your cost of living, let's say in Hawaii, your cost of living to make $90,000, you're considered poor, but you're paying these cops $47,000 a year. How the fuck do you expect them to protect and serve? Mm-hmm. Now, let's say I paid them above that. Let's say I paid them $80,000, $90,000 a year, right? Makes them kind of close to above poor, middle class, whatever. It's just around the middle class threshold. Mm-hmm. I make them feel important. They would do their job better. Right. Put in more training, put in more restrictions, maybe, but I can't fault them for doing what they do, but I don't agree with what they do because, yes, I do think sometimes that when cops automatically hear it's a black guy with dreads, boom, they're going to go and find the first black guy with dreads, even though this guy could be a graduate from Princeton or Howard or whatever university, runs a multi-million-dollar business and go, you motherfucker, you're the guy that just robbed that liquor store. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I'm black. I can talk on racism because I went to a Filipino school where I dealt with racism every fucking day. So racism, there is no one set color for racism. It's basically majority versus the minority in that school. So I know racism firsthand, maybe not like African-American racism, but the racism that I dealt with was pretty close to it. So I can see how people drive by and judge and assume things. Now, with me having tattoos and stuff like that, if I am not dressed properly, I look like a vato. I look like a guy that just came out the prison cell. Orale, right? Fucking no. Literally, they come to find, oh shit, what? Oh, you're educated. Because we live in a world of ego and assumptions, right? And the problem is these Bill of Rights are so fucking old. It's not defined properly. These 10 Bill of Rights, where they should have only made a certain amount, right? Or changed over 20, 30, 40 years, reduced it, or even more clear upon what they've got. They needed to expand upon it and not give that legal jargon. They need to be a little bit more clear cut and say, hey, look, okay, this is what this shit covers. And you have rights. But in truth, with all the shit I've seen on video over the last just 2 years itself, all the killings, even the Breonna one, not Breonna, I think it was the one in Texas, Breonna Taylor. The cops kicked down her door, and they were supposed to kick down the neighbor's door.
Oh, jeez.
They kicked the wrong door down, and they shot her.
Wow.
But that's not the only case. That's been going on for decades. How many times have you heard in stories, and you see it in movies, they make joke about it, but you see it happening in the news where these cops accidentally raid the wrong house. How the fuck do you do that? You sit there with the SWAT team, and I've seen Dallas SWAT and all this other shit, this real live documentary stuff, where they plan this stuff out. They draw it out on the board. This is the house. We have confirmation. How the fuck do you break down the wrong door and then shoot the people? I don't get that. I've seen another video. I'm sorry to keep going on this, but I see another video of a guy, an African-American male with dreads, living, I think it was Atlanta, big house, nice house, beautiful house, watering his front yard. Watering his yard. A cop just driving through the neighborhood stops, gets out of his car, and questions him. What are you doing in this neighborhood? The guy, he's watering his yard. He's like, you talking to me? And he's like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing in this neighborhood? And of course, he had every right to do this. He said, fuck you. I don't got to tell you shit. And he's absolutely right, because as Tyson alluded, you have the freedom to speak your right, your respect on your property, right? You have the right to say something. Now, what he should have done was probably say, hey, look, this is my house. I'm not doing anything wrong here, but he shouldn't have to do that. Right. But that's what that cop was expecting. And that's the problem with these illegal seizures and stuff. A lot of the times I just think that these cops are trying to cover their shit, and whether it's illegal or legal or whatnot, there's a lot of agendas that go on with these illegal search and seizures. And some I get. Look, you're hunting, let's say it's the Fugitive Task Force, and they're hunting down a guy that's killed 30 fucking people. I think they have the right to, if they have a tip, and to go and at least just search for the guy, not look through anything else. Because that's how warrants are built, right? Warrants will say, hey,
we have to look at one. We're looking for something. It's here in this place. Yes. You
cannot tear apart this. Your warrant only covers you for this amount. But that's the problem. How does that circumvent? The judges now sign an open warrant. Oh, here you go. Yeah. You have the right to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah. Or you, as the person being searched, don't understand your rights.
Thank you.
And you allow that to be happening.
You don't understand that when certain questions are being posed to you, like, oh, hey, can I check the hood of your car? Can I look inside your thing? You don't got to do shit just because they have a badge, but it's how you say it.
Yeah, right.
And the sad part is, and I've learned this through car insurance, nowadays you have to have video. I'm sorry, which goes back to what we were just talking about. There's a lot of states that are writing into law that you can't video record a police procedure. Where is our Bill of Rights?
It's going away, and that's what this episode kind of
Bill of assumptions. Yeah, it's bullshit.
But this is one of the things that you hear the argument for. Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, if you don't have anything to hide, then it's not a big deal. But what you fail to see is maybe you don't, or maybe this, that, and another. But what you do is you set a precedent. It's like nobody questions me when I ask to search your car. Nobody questions me when I say open your backpack. Nobody questions me when I do these things. So the first person that does, well, guess what I think as an officer? You've got something to hide. Something's going on here. Because every other motherfucker I've ever pulled over says, no problem, officer, take a look around. And now you're guilty until proven innocent. And that's what I'd like to stop. And we need to understand that. This is the way things kind of work nowadays. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. And it's backwards around. And that's the thing we've got to stop. Say, listen, I understand you're trying to do your job here, officer. I understand maybe you have suspicions. Maybe I fit the description of somebody, but I'm sorry, you're not going to search my car. You're not going to search my property. If you have suspicions, please go to the proper channels and we can work this out.
I think I'm agreeing with you. I don't think it's ever going to happen though, because at the end of the day, they got the wrong people in power in the police department level. They're hiring the wrong individuals because they're hiring to fill the need.
Right.
My suggestion, which I've had running in my head for years because of all these recent incidences, is that it comes down to accountability. And as a department, they're protected by the union. And the union will go out of its way to protect the brand, not protect the individual, protect the brand. So my suggestion is, instead of defunding the police department, we should fund the police department, but break up these unions. And I personally feel that these guys should be individual contractors, which they hold their own insurance, their own license, which means they are held accountable to knowing the law. And if they were to supersede the law, break the law, it falls on them. It falls on their property. It falls on themselves. I think it's not going to clear up all the issues, but I think majority of the shit that's going on now, where cops are shooting first, talking later, because I'm the law, I'm tired, or my life is stressful, so I'm going to fuck with somebody. It'll decrease a lot of that, because right now what's going on in a lot of these police departments, there's like, even in Phoenix, the chief has she has the right idea, but the problem is it's not trickling down. And it's not trickling down because there's a lot of people fighting the ideas. They've been in their seat too long. They're comfortable. They're set to retire. They don't give a fuck. And on top of that, it deals with psychology. A lot of them are basing their interpretations and their biases off personal incidents that happened maybe 20, 30 years ago, maybe happened during their childhood. Like, let's say they came across one Chinese dude that went ape shit and stabbed somebody. Now they're going to think every Chinese dude is like that.
Right. That's how we create biases. Yeah,
exactly. Schemas and all this other stuff. And police department has to take accountability. And I'm not trying to bash the cops. I'm trying to make this world a better place. I don't want to see the police departments go away. I don't want to see, what I want to see stopped is wrongful hirings. I want to see the right individuals with the right training in place, not just an academy, but there's got to be some sort of quarterly training and different things.
There has to be ongoing, greater training.
Exactly. But the biggest thing is everything has to center upon the Bill of Rights, the law, the Constitution. That's where everything has to be built upon. And centered from. And until that happens, more cops are going to go to jail. More cops are going to end up like Derek Chauvin. It's sad. It's sad because he blatantly didn't give a fuck. And because he did that, he now opened the door for other incidents between police and the public that might not be on purpose. That might actually be an honest mistake to be considered intentful and go straight to jail. He ruined the brand because he didn't give a fuck. Whether he's right or wrong, and I believe he was wrong. I believe at some point you had the guy locked up and you had him arrested. What's the need for the extra excessive force? But it is what it is. But all of these things, just I've studied a lot of history, a lot of politics, and I've watched a lot of the news, and I just keep circling back to there's always an agenda with things, and these things happen in batches, and then it disappears for a while. And then something else happens, and then it's a bunch of batches again, and I'm like, wait a minute. What law are we trying to change here? What are we trying to infringe upon here? Yeah, it just, it's weird. And to me personally, going back to the vaccine stuff, it started with the Ebola. It started with the that other one that came
SARS,
here. Yeah. And they said, oh my God, it's so deadly. And then all of a sudden, in 3 months, it's gone. Look at the war in the Middle East with Syria. What's that faction? I forgot what they were called. ISIS. They were in the news consistently for 6 months. Beheadings, killings, recruiting, and then gone.
Yeah.
And then what was the next thing? Oh, here comes Russia. Oh, here comes this. It's always something else. So once again, interpretation, Bill of Rights, what's being moved. It's just fucking crazy. But yeah, what's the next one?
Well, on this real quick, I wanted to kind of tie this together just a little bit. This all to me goes to the thing of you've got to stand up for your rights. You've got to stand up for what you think is right, especially when you're seeing your neighbor, your neighborhood, a fellow human fucking being. You know, if the people standing by in these things put your fucking phone down and you help the officer, you help subdue the individual, you help your neighbor do something, you help these things, you don't let injustices go. And we can start changing the narrative here. We can start changing the precedents. We can start saying, no, I believe in these things. I want to be able to say things I want to say. I want to be able to go where I want to do. I want to be able to protect my family with firearms if I so choose. I want to be able to not have my rights infringed. I want to be able to not have my property seized because somebody thought something was cool and didn't like me or whatever and takes my shit. Like, we've got to stand up for these things. And it's going to take one person every day. You as your individual, stand up for what's going on in your life, in your world, and then that will start to trickle out, and we'll be able to start changing these things. We'll all take back some of these rights and start taking back the narrative and start changing these things going forward. Go ahead, Justin.
The only catch with that is, though, and then I've learned this as being a first responder, each state has a different law pertaining to... And
it's sad, right.
And that's the shitty part, is that most of us, human nature is to jump in and help. But laws within our own county or states restrict us from helping because they say we are held liable. And the problem too is a lot of people don't help, especially older people don't help because of the time that they lived in, where if you were caught helping, you could catch some heat from the situation itself down the line. So it's human nature to help, to want to help. But if you're going to help, it's kind of like being a first responder. If you're going to jump in and save somebody drowning, make sure you look at the environment first. And if you're not at least able to jump in, at least go call somebody, at least make a phone call and say, hey, 911, you know, this shit's happening right now. Or if somebody doesn't have a camera and you think they're being persecuted, record. And be a witness, because I've noticed that too, is when there's an incident, a lot of people watching, but a lot of people don't want to say they were there. You know, so make the right moves, you know?
Yeah. This is listening to this episode and going through this with us. This is your opportunity to say, what do I stand for? And you have this already set in you before anything happens. These are my rules. These are my principles. This is what I will not stand for. This is what's going to do. Personally, somebody's dying. I don't give a fuck what my liability is. I'm going to save your life. I'll deal with that later. And I'm okay. I already know this. I already have thought this through. I already understand it. I have a first aid kit in my vehicle. I stop when I see something. You want to sue me later? We can discuss this later. We can discuss this in court. I'm okay with that. I've made my choice. And that's what it's about. I want you to make your choice. Not what your tribe thinks, not what your clique thinks, not what your homies think, not what your party thinks, not what the left or the right, whatever it is. I want you to stop and say, what do I as a person want to do? How do I want to live my life? What rules can I put in place that I know when time comes, I just act because I have a set of principles? And that's what I want. All my episodes, all the things we talk about, that's always what I want you to do. I want you to come up with a set of principles you believe in and you want to stand for. And that's okay. There's going to be consequences, good or bad. So that's fine. And if nothing else, we're going to move on to 5. One of the more famous ones as well. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless by a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, or in actual service in time of war or public danger, semicolon, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, or shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, another semicolon, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. There's a lot that goes into that law. I think the popular version of this is pleading the fifth, where you don't want to self-incriminate yourself. That is one aspect of it. Also, double jeopardy. I don't think a lot of people understand where double jeopardy comes from. That means you can't be charged for the same crime twice. But to me, the thing that's scary in this rule, like I said, there's a lot in this, and there's a lot to unpack. And if you're interested, look at some scholarly legal research and talks on this. But the thing that worries me is you don't have to incriminate yourself anymore, because there's a little thing that most all of us carry in their pocket. It's called a phone. It's got GPS probably on all the time. If not, it's pinging cell towers. There's cameras on every block and everything, recording what you're doing. There's social media where a lot of people are fools and they post the dumb shit they do on the internet for everybody and their mom to see. And on top of that, there is in different places in America and around the world, facial recognition is being installed in these public cameras. And there is some things I've seen in Europe, I believe it is in London, where they have these special vans that they sit up on the side of the street, and they have these cameras that have facial recognition built into it. And as you're walking down the street, like I said, I don't know the laws in England and London or whatever, but they're just stopping you. Oh, you got pinged for facial recognition. You're a person of interest, and they're stopping you on the side of the road. And to me, infringing on your rights, there's no probable cause. There's no reasonable suspicion of anything happens. And 99% of the time, I shouldn't say 99%, a lot of the percent of the time, there's false positives. And they identify, especially people of color. It's a very known thing in AI and in facial recognition. People of color, especially females, on top of that, they are notoriously not able to recognize your face well. And unfortunately, in America, disproportionate amount of crimes are committed by people of color. So when you have these facial recognition systems going off and pretty much set to a black person, yeah, anyone will do that works, and it's really tough. So when you're in court and it's like you're asked these questions, you're asked these things, you don't even have to answer, because we've got all this data that says you were at this place, you were here, we have you on camera, we have GPS things, you posted about on social media, maybe not. So that is where things get a little scary, I think.
Look, I mean, the right to due process.
Yeah.
I don't think that has changed. I don't think this is one of those things that's being taken away. I think there's a lot more stupid people out there do the crime and then brag about it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever else. 5G is changing the game. It's always been suspicious, but it's evolution. Mm-hmm. Look, we started playing with electronics. We started playing with innovations. This was bound to happen. Yeah. At some point, they're going to be able to pop you up on any camera anywhere and recognize who the fuck you are. They're going to fix all those problems with face recognition, mm-hmm. despite color and everything else, which is another reason why I'm going to talk, not talk about it, but I'm going to link it back to the vaccine stuff. It makes kind of sense of why they want a mass vaccine. And they're also instituting the 5G stuff. How do you track us, right? Have some sort of tracking thing in us. It may not be a tracking chip, it may not be a microchip, but it could be just some sort of liquid or some sort of antibodies that are in us that they can just pick up.
I mean, your cell phone, everybody's got a cell phone carrying around, and most people leave it on. It's pinging cell towers all day long. With 5G, we know exactly where you are within feet easily.
Right. But for me, the right to due process, I don't think that's being infringed upon. I think at the end of the day, the courtroom, now a lot of people like to say it favors the crooks, but it doesn't. It favors who has the facts.
And it favors money too.
It favors money too. It depends on which court. I mean, of course, these things we can't prove and whatever else. But, I've seen a lot of things pass that should have gone one way and a wrong way that actually went the way that it should have gone. Mm-hmm. And it's because they followed the law. Now, of course, the smaller court you go to, the more podunk town you go to, the more it's going to be, politically favored or biased or agenda favored. But in a more highlighted courtroom, big city metropolitan area like a New York or even in Arizona out here, it's clear cut and dry because a lot of these proceedings too are filmed now. Yeah. A lot of them are for court TV or for their own records to cover their own asses. Now, was there corruption with judges a long time ago? Sure. There's corruption everywhere. Corruption is always going to exist. Is it more now than ever before? Probably not. Things were a lot more loose back in the day. People could be bought off or threatened back in the day. Nowadays, it's a lot harder to commit a crime and get away with it. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot harder for these judges to be biased, racist, or corrupted without being caught. And a lot of them have been caught because, like I said, a lot of these court proceedings are being taped. Yeah. At the end of the day, when it comes to the courtroom, when it comes to the due process, these in America, people are read their Miranda rights. They go to jail. They have the right to prove their case, whether they're in the right or not, whether the cops are corrupted or whatever else. You have to prove your case. And if you've got a shitty lawyer or you can't get a lawyer, tough rocks. Whether you're right or wrong, the case works against you because nowadays, well, that's what it's supposed to be, but they're judging you based on facts. Prove to me, we'll get it done. Now, if we want to sit and say, well, that's not right, they're corrupted. Well, if that's the case, then Derek Chauvin should have been free. It should have been just like the LA riots. Because if you want to talk about corruption, I'm going to give you that example of the LA riots. The court proceedings itself was moved out of the county that it was supposed to be in. It was moved to an all-white, all-rich fucking neighborhood where the defendants were all-white cops. Mm-hmm. What did you think was going to happen? And it was not in the right time where it is now, where it's the cancel culture, where people are more open to it, the eyes looking at it. No, we knew what was going to happen. What they didn't expect was the African-American community, the poor communities of LA to go, man, that's fucked up. Mm-hmm. That is, I mean, I've seen some low shit in my life. Yeah. But this is extremely low because if they didn't move the court case to that courtroom with that judge, with that area that they were in, and they kept it in LA, I think people would have accepted the decision a little bit more. But once again, based on that era, the 90s, and that time frame coming out of the 80s, hard to say if they wouldn't have gotten the same verdict because everything is politically driven. But if that LA riots were to have a repeat, let's say it didn't happen, it was going to happen now, I think it would have gone the way of Derek Chauvin. I think all five would have been found guilty because why? Politically, it makes sense to give the people what they want, find middle ground, and keep an ass in a political seat. Mm-hmm. See, so there are signs of corruption, political influence, we'll call it, because corruption has many names, but political influence, yeah, there are signs of it in the courtroom and due process. Back then, I felt that if you were a politician, if you were rich, if you were a cop, if you were a successful businessman, you got afforded certain things, treatment, compared to scumbags, lowlives, people that come from the poor neighborhoods, right? Lower East LA, It's so many rights afforded to these rich. Wink, wink, get them off the cuff, right? Mm-hmm. Today, no. Today, the judges are looking over their shoulders like, fuck. If I don't do the right thing, my ass is grass, and that ain't happening.
Yeah, it's sad we have to stick a camera in your face for you to do the right thing.
It is sad, but this is part of evolution. Mm-hmm. We like to think we're an advanced society, but we're not. We might be advanced in terms of materials, labor, electronics, but as the human race itself, there are other countries a lot poorer than us that are more advanced as humans than we Americans will ever be because why? We are hogs. Mm-hmm. We are not pigs looking to eat. We're not starving for food. We're hogs. We're privileged. I don't care what class you come from. We're privileged. And we like to shit on everything and we like to assume things and we just don't understand how this process works. But leading back to this Bill of Rights, I personally feel that this one is stronger than it's ever been before, because it really comes down to a free-for-all.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a bad guy or if you're a good guy. You're a cop or if you're a robber. You come in here and you give me facts, the jury's going to decide it. The public of opinion is going to decide it. And I'm the judge. I'm just going to go with it. It is what it is. I'm not going to say a different verdict that's on the paper. I have to follow it. So I don't think that has changed.
Yeah. I think the hard part there to me is it's not necessarily about getting away with it, but it's hard to have like a fair shake a little bit. And you're going to have a hard time with that.
What you mean?
I guess it depends on the high profileness of the case or the incident or whatever. You're getting a fair jury sometimes. It's going to be hard because there's so much political coverage around it, so much social media coverage around it. To be impartial and unbiased, that might be tough. To not have your spouse or what against you. Some places they allow that, so it's like, here we go, circumventing around that again. Being deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. I think that happens often. I think it's not hard to, especially the poor classes, take your shit away and lock you up and get rid of your things. And it's hard to fight back. It's tough. Does all these things maybe fall into there? I don't know, but this is what things that come to mind when I hear these things. When I look at this and I look at what's going on, and I see this, that's what comes to my mind.
Well, going on your legal seizure thing, I think this problem with this amendment is that it can cover multiple other amendments.
Yeah.
For me, this amendment strictly deals with the right to due process. Now, if we're talking about the other points you're talking about,
I mean, as part of this, it's a long amendment.
Yeah, I get that, but what people know this as the right to due process. You have the right to a lawyer, you have the right to a courtroom.
Actually, that's actually the Sixth Amendment. I think you're getting those mixed up.
The Fifth Amendment.
Six, I'll read 6 real quick because we're bordering on it too. So 6 is all criminal prosecutions. The accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. Yeah,
I know what number 6 is. The right to a trial, but the right to due process of law deals with that. That's what I'm saying. Is a lot of these amendments can cover multiple other amendments. Now, the right to due process means that when you get arrested or convicted of a crime, it's not about the trial itself, but there's a process you have to go through that's afforded to all Americans. But as far as the seizures go, that could also be linked to the previous one where these cops can come in and seize your shit. And that happens. That part, I agree. Look, the police have a lot of power. Yeah. The sheriffs have a lot of power. FBI has a lot of power. And sometimes to cripple an organization, and depends on the situation, they will seize your shit. But there's also intent. Like when we used to deal with the auctions, we know that a lot of the shit that they're dealing at the auctions wasn't taken legally.
Right, yeah.
It was quote unquote taken legally. Right. But they just were like, you know what? Fuck this guy or fuck this girl. We're going to seize all their shit and just give it away. Fuck it.
Right, yeah.
Because why? We need money.
Yeah, exactly.
To fund certain things. So I am 100% in agreement with that. As far as the right to due process, I think that hasn't changed. If we are talking about how people are being perceived, look, the court of public opinion does exist, yes. But as far as the trial stuff goes, look at Derek Chauvin's case. They did an excellent job in sequestering the jury. They did an excellent job of cutting off the media. They had to go through extreme lengths because of the high profile case. Yeah. And to me, it depends on a case by case situation on how certain measures are instituted or put into place. So they did an excellent job. And I think this has been going on since the O.J. Simpson trial because court of public opinion, we all thought he did it. We were like, fuck him. I don't care. The glove didn't fit. He's guilty not because he's black. I know that's what everybody else is thinking, but because he took off in the white Bronco and he tried to escape. But if you have researched your shit over years, and I don't know if people can find this controversial or not, but I personally, and there's a lot of people that agree with me, if you look this shit up, don't think OJ did it. And why? And I know this is off the subject, but I'm just going to touch on this real quick. The reason why is because court of public opinion just saw the incident for what it was and said, you know what, fuck him. He's guilty because he's a high profile person. He had to have done it. We've seen multiple cases like this before. But in truth, if you look at the facts of the situation, number one, OJ faints when he sees blood. Number two, his oldest son suffered from a mental health illness. His oldest son was at the house at the time of the incident. His oldest son was not there when the police questioned OJ and everybody else. His son disappeared. The glove fits his son. And his son has, and there is paperwork on this file, has attacked his stepmom before. The son is not young. The son was, I think, 17 or 18 at the time. Big motherfucker. Wow. Not all there in the head. Exactly. But OJ faints at the sign of blood. He's a I'm sorry, I don't want to say the word. He skirmishes. So that's all. But what I'm saying is this all leads back to court of public opinion. Immediately, everybody was like, oh, I wonder how long he's going to get. Oh, maybe they're going to kill him. Fuck yeah. And then they found out he's not guilty. The first thing people said was, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's a setup. No, it isn't. This one goes to the number 5 and number 6 that we're going to talk about, because they both go with each other. At the end of the day, OJ was afforded the right to due process. The police did not do due process, and due process for the police department was cataloging and CSIing the fucking scene correctly. Instead, they went in there with the assumption, fuck, he did it. He fucking ran. Fuck him. You know what? We're the sheriffs. We can do whatever the fuck we want. That was their mentality. And you know what? I'm sad to say that is the sheriff's mentality still today, that we don't give a fuck. We are the sheriff. We're the law. Yeah. If we don't have a case, we'll build a case. You know that famous scene from Training Day? I'll put cases on all of you. You all gonna be in Pelican Bay making license plates. That's the truth. That's how some of these cops and sheriffs think. And court of public opinion, they trampled through the fucking scene. They planted evidence. They didn't do their due process. And look what happened. OJ comes in, and you know what got him off? The glove didn't fit. Yeah. To honest to God, he was guilty on every other thing except for the facts that were brought up, number one. Number two, the uncertainty of the witness who was like, I think it was him. And the fact that his hand was way too fucking big for that glove. So due process, that's what happened. He had the right to a fair trial, which was number 6. He got the fair trial. The jury was sequestered correctly. There was no intimidating a witness or anything like that. There was no, and you could tell that happens when you have a change in jury. When you have all of a sudden the jury thing makes the news that, oh, the high profile case of OJ Simpson, 3 jurors had to be taken off of the thing. There's a reason. None of that has happened. And all of these high profile cases, number 5 and number 6 to me have been upheld except for illegal seizures, which I think belongs with number 4.
Well, that is 4.
Well, you were saying
4, 5, and 6 are very similar.
That's what I'm saying. Is so. This is why the Bill of Rights, they wrote it back then to fit their needs back then. It made sense back then because it wasn't as complicated. It was more of a couple towns, couple states. We're not talking 50 across the world. You know,
right? Yeah,
across the U.S. itself. So it made sense. But I think at some point they have to scrap it. They have to scrap it and say, hey, you know what? We have to redefine these, and we need to make it extremely positively, no questions asked, clear. Kind of like who's that hedge fund guy that we follow a lot? We read his book Principles.
Ray Dalio.
Like Ray Dalio says, you want transparency. You want to be clear cut, so that way there's no confusion, and people are going, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? You want them to understand right when they read it and not have, oh, I didn't see page 300, page 400 on this shit. What are you talking about, right? So, but that's my feelings on number 5 itself. And if you want to go into number 6, that's my feelings on number 6 as well.
All right, so let me read 6 here. So kind of wrap these 4, 5, and 6 together. I know it feels like we link them together, and they do all, like I said, go together. So let me just read 6 real quick so everybody's up on 6. So it says, to all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district within the crime, in the state and district within the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed by the nature and cause of accusation, to be confronted with the witness against him, to have complicatory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. This is kind of commonly known as the right to address your accuser and having a fair and speedy trial. And that's kind of how it's commonly seen. This one, the only thing I think about when I see this is a trend I've seen, especially in the impoverished communities, is with such a backup in the court. I think there's some of that is part of the reason. But what I hear and what I kind of see, and I don't have a lot of experience here, but this is the things I do see, is people are led down the path of, listen, it's easier, just plead guilty, do your time. It's going to be 3, 4, 5 years before you get a trial anyway. You're probably not going to get off. So you might as well just plead guilty and kind of just do it. And I don't think that's an attack at this amendment per se, but when I hear this is the things I think of. These are the things that seem to be allowed to proliferate in the communities, and it's concerning.
The problem is it's the lawyer. It's not so much the law itself.
Yeah, right. It's the system per se.
It's a system, but look, a lot of people can't afford lawyers.
Yeah.
A lot of people, depending on the crime, are probably in the wrong. Mm-hmm. There are some instances where it's not a crime itself, where let's say like they're trying to, let's say it's the electric company, mm-hmm. and they overbilled them, but they can't take them to court because they don't have the right lawyer. Or go back to 2008 when the housing crisis happened. Mm-hmm. People signed off on documents that didn't know what the fuck they were signing, and next thing you know, they were over-ended on their deal, mm-hmm. and they couldn't go to court because lawyer costs and fees are expensive. That's where the corruption lies. Yeah. It's how much these fucking lawyers cost, and it's not based on if they win or not. $400 something an hour. I mean, the more expensive, the better you get, right? But it doesn't guarantee you win, especially nowadays, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of instances where it's like, the court system's backed up, time frame, a lot of things are hinging upon a decision being made by the court, some sort of decision rendered, right? Guilty, not guilty, whatever else. And a lot of things they're depending on is probably a person's job, livelihood, things of that nature. So sometimes, depending on the crime, they'll plead down, and the lawyer will tell them, look, the lawyer's job, especially with public defenders, their job is to be open and honest and say, hey, look, this is what could happen, this is what might happen, and this is not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I gotta, it's kind of like a realtor, right? That they have to provide the offer to the person they're representing, regardless of how crappy the offer is. Mm-hmm. And it's up to the person, honest to God, to understand the law. Now, I know a lot of people from poor communities don't understand the law and don't understand, even people from upper class and middle class communities, because they have to go and seek a lawyer and get this advice. But we have access to the web now. People have to have some sort of accountability to look stuff up, to figure something out, or to ask people. There's a lot of websites that offer free advice. So in this day and age, there's no excuse. 10 years ago, there could be an excuse. Yeah. People might not have the ability to afford internet or to have access to internet. Guess what? You can have access anywhere. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of poor people with smartphones. Yeah. So don't fuck around here. Don't make excuses. At the end of the day, you can blame the system all you want. The system can be systematic. It can reflect that. But at the same time, you are accountable as well. And pertaining to these Bill of Rights, it's your Bill of Rights, which is your Bill of Responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And you have to take some sort of accountability and say, hey, look, okay, I did this crime. How petty is it? What can I do? And what I can't do? You know what I mean? Is this going to limit me from getting a job if I lie on an application? Things like that, right? So I get what you're saying. I believe that the poor should have better representation. Yeah. I believe, going back to our idea a long time ago with Bobber's point, I think more community centers need to be built that provides financial education, law education, business education, because if we want to change the system, if we want to take the poor and flip it back to middle class communities, we have to change the way people think, which means we have to come to a very general understanding that maybe only 30% are going to actually change out of the communities that we're going to affect. And with that 30%, we want them to thrive to affect another 30% and another 30%. We need to get off this fucking wagon thinking of we're going to change 90 to 100% of people if we just put the system in place. This is not Field of Dreams. You don't build it, they don't come. It doesn't work that way. And you have to understand, and this relates to sales and anything else. You can try to shoot for 100% sales, but if you get 15, 20%, you're doing phenomenal. You're doing fantastic. Accept those facts. So with this stuff, I think that there needs to be a lot more community centers, communities that are built not so much on clean energy, but clean energy is part of it. But I also feel that it should be built on building better communities, educating people, giving them tools to put on their belt and say, hey, you know what? The law can't fuck with me because I understand what I'm doing. I now have access to pro bono. You know what I mean? I have access to a lot of things. Because look, there's a lot of prisoners, and I've watched a lot of documentaries on Netflix and Prime Video and all this other stuff and stuff I've read about. There's a lot of people in jail that shouldn't be in jail.
Yeah.
Wrongfully accused because it was the wrong decade and racist cops, or it just...
Petty crimes, yeah.
It fit the need of the investigation, whereas, fuck, this might take forever and the governor wants an answer now. And this is the 80s, so I have to give him an answer. So, you know what? We're going to pick the first motherfucker that walks across the field. Boom, here he goes. Get him. That's the guy. And we will plant evidence and we will do all that stuff. And the jury itself, the right to the fair process and the jury, all that shit's rigged at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to provide an answer and a solution that somebody else wants. But nowadays, like I said, all these things are intact. And I just wish that there was more services available to the poor, to the middle class itself, even mental health services. Yeah. I think that all of these mental health gurus need to get off their high horse and start providing free services and saying, hey, look, I just want people to live better lives. And if that rewards me somehow, it will reward me. And if it doesn't, oh, well, I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I got in here for, right? So I think these multiple 4, 5, 6, and I think even 7, they're all attached to each other. And
yeah, 7 is a little bit.
I don't really think that they've been infringed upon or taken away since it's the subject of the episode. And if they are being taken away, I think it's just the latter ones are more on our own responsibility.
I think it's just a little bit of infringement. These are, like the first few are definitely, I feel, being taken away. These are definitely, there's a lot more infringement, I think, that's there.
Creeping, people stepping on lines, but, not so much as taking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all these are subject to interpretation, and mostly all of the amendments you're going to read today are infringed upon some way, somehow.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my feelings on those 4, 5, 6, I think 7.
Yeah, let me get 7 out here. So in suits of common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, that just shows you the times there. The right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall otherwise be reexamined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. And I think these all kind of tie back. It's very interesting how there's a lot of amendments about legal proceedings and your rights and really securing your legal stature there.
Well, because it was indicative of the times.
Yeah.
It was indicative of the times. At the end of the day, if you look back at England, right, it was the king's way or queen's way, nothing else.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing in between.
And our court will condemn you the way we see it.
Yeah, right.
Fuck you, fuck your rights, right?
Right.
But in America, they wanted to change that. They wanted to say, hey, we want to give people the illusion that you have a fair shot at providing your freedom. Mm-hmm. You have a fair case to argue. And I think that's what our country is built on, is arguments. Yeah. It's trying to prove a point, trying to make a case or whatever else, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it was just for show. And nowadays, I think it's a little bit more fair on some aspects. Mm-hmm. Like I said, these things are probably just slightly infringed upon, but not that bad. Mm-hmm. Anything to do with the juries, I think it's a fair process on how they select the juries and whatever else. Mm-hmm. At some point, I think technology is going to be more involved. Yeah. I think at some point they're going to get rid of the human element, and it's just all going to be jury by artificial intelligence, which will be interesting.
I've seen some experiments they've tried with those different things. It's quite interesting.
It's we're headed that way. Mm-hmm. I think they're just testing out the bug. I mean, I'm not saying anytime soon, but it makes sense where It just cuts the human emotion element out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you come in there and it's just based on facts.
Right.
We feed it into the machine. If you have an appeal, you can appeal it with the machine or with the process itself. But I think as far as the jury,
maybe that's when humans come in. There's an appeal. Let the humans. Let's get our take on it now. We heard what happened. Let's maybe see what's here.
Yeah, and then like I said, I wouldn't even doubt at some point the whole process itself, maybe 40, 50 years from now, being all AI. I mean, even the judge, it may come to a point where the person just shows up on a video and they go through the case, and it takes, because everything is about time. Mm-hmm. Time is money, right?
Right.
And with economies being bad, especially recently off 2020, the states are going to look to save money somewhere, somehow. So getting rid of judges, teleconferencing, all these different type of things make sense. Mm-hmm. Going AI, costs are probably going to be expensive at first, but long run, it makes sense. It's cheaper. You don't have to drive them anywhere. You can process them where they're at. It is what it is. And the thing is just like a lotto ticket. It spits out the sentence. It does the whole fucking thing for you. Mm-hmm. So I think personally, looking at all of the innovations and artificial intelligence stuff they've been testing it on, I think at some point it's going to go that route. And maybe where we just have two sets of courts, the Supreme Court itself and one right below that. Because I think you know this, and I don't know if a lot of people do know this, but there's a Supreme Court and then there's another Supreme Court.
The district court, yeah.
Well, there's another court that deals with.
Yeah, there's I think 6 districts or something like that or whatever. So each the territory or whatever has their own Supreme Court kind of thing.
No.
I forget what it's called.
Okay, so actually this was actually, and I'm surprised they did this. This is actually on an episode of Law and Order. Mm-hmm. They actually talked about this. There's another court that exists strictly for terrorism and for high related crimes that supersedes the Supreme Court. They have their own rules. It's, I forgot the name of it, but it's like a secret court. Secret set of judges. There's facts or shit on this. And I was surprised they put it in Law and Order. Wow. Which is why certain warrants or what are those things judges write that the cops can go in? It's warrants, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right?
Times a warrant,
yeah. So these warrants are null and void, and cops can't figure out what the fuck, because there's multiple layers to this onion and stuff like that. But I think that there should only be two human level courts that exist to contest any artificial intelligent things that come up, because at the end of the day, the Bill of Rights that we're discussing, there's a lot of them that need to be changed, that need to represent this day and age and not when our forefathers wrote this and created the Constitution, because a lot has changed. Business has changed worldwide. It's no longer just the US versus the British or the Canadians or the French. Yeah. It's multiple entities in multiple countries, big business that drives government laws, fundings, a whole bunch of things. And a lot of these amendments that are afforded to us now need to change, need to catch up with the times. That's just my opinion. But like I said, the recent ones you just discussed, I don't think it's been taken away from us. I don't think it's dying out. I think the first few that we talked about, yes, definitely. I think there's a lot of problems there, and it's really evident, and you can't hide from this shit. It's really evident. It's sad. But yeah, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, and even as we roll into 8 here, 8 is excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. I think when people think about this, they really think of cruel and unusual punishment. But I think what really is a problem is this excessive bail. This is a big problem in impoverished communities, where these guys get 10, 20, 30, 100,000, million, $500,000, $250,000, $1 million bonds, and with obviously the expectation, there's no way these guys can raise this kind of money. There's no way these guys can even get the 10% to get a bond or whatever it is. So that is a problem. And I know there's a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot. I know of a few organizations that are really working on this excessive bail. That has become a problem, or keeping these people, especially a lot of petty crimes, a lot of things now, marijuana and different things that are really mostly decriminalized in a lot of places. Whereas where a lot of these really came into effect before, was these big bonds that they were imposing on, like I said, mostly impoverished people.
No, I agree with that. The impoverished community is just it's they're up against the wall. You know what I mean? It's unfair. And I've seen instances where, pertaining to the bail issue, where like somebody had a small bag of marijuana and they got a $500,000 or $600,000 bail put on them.
Yeah.
Personally,
it's done on purpose because they know you can't raise the money to get bail, or raise the money to get the 10% for the bond.
No, I agree. And personally, I think that the problem with the bail courts is that it's up to the judge.
Yeah.
The judge determines, it's biased. And sometimes I don't think they are taking into account the whole situation, because I don't think it's a racist thing. It could be. I don't think it's a biased thing. I just think that they see so many cases come through. They're just trying to rush through the fucking day. And it's like, what's the case? Fuck it here. Bang, 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 bang. And they go with whatever the prosecution is asking or offering.
Right.
And look, if it's a petty crime, give it a petty amount.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The guy got caught with a bag of weed. I mean, it's not like he's building a cocaine empire here. And even so, so what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's other crimes that take precedence, and all we're doing is building the system that we hate.
Yeah. And we're creating that backlog. We're initiating backlog into the system.
We're overcrowding the prisons. But then again, you think about it though, and this is sad, and this is actual facts. The prisons are private entities.
There's big money in that.
Prisons is business. And the reason why our prisons are overcrowded is because each head that enters their prison is money coming in.
Yeah. Hundreds of thousands, not millions of dollars. Yeah.
There's plenty of advocates fighting against prisons. Now, I believe in a prison system of some sort. I believe that you got to be held accountable for your crime. But at the same time, I believe, watching these documentaries and studying and researching, that a lot of our major crimes that exist today, our major gang problems, is built through these private entities. Look, the mafias, the Aryan Brotherhoods, the cartels were all built through California prison systems, Texas prison systems, early 60s, 50s, right?
Yeah, all because of drugs.
Well,
we made all these drugs illegal, and then it created a business because there's demand for these recreational drugs and whatever. And again, we're infringing on people's rights to put whatever shit we want in our bodies, and created a huge business, a huge industry.
No, definitely. I mean, drugs is one part of it. I mean, early 60s, it was a race issue, with the Zoot Suit riots and all this stuff, which is what led to the Mexican mafia and whatnot coming out of Folsom Prison and everything else. Aryan Brotherhood, the same thing. We created the system. And the sad part is these prison systems is just a business. They don't give a fuck. They're making money. That's why they don't keep up with the facilities. Yeah. They provide a cot and 3 hots, right? That's what they're supposed to do. But they're getting money off of each head. And then, they committed an extra crime inside the prison. Oh, they're here another 10 years, 20 years. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Yeah. We've got 500 beds, but we can fit 1,000 people. We'll find a fucking way. We don't care.
Yeah.
Because money talks, shit walks. Power, money, influence. The bail system is rigged. And it is the poor communities. And the sad part is, and what people don't understand, is that we no longer have a middle class. Our middle class does not exist. You're either 1% rich or you are completely poor. And poor, depending on the state, could mean making $100,000 a year.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Understand that, right? There is no in between. And it's the poor now who are getting picked on, persecuted, and like how it has been for generations, but it's more prevalent because cameras, because smartphones, because of the innovation that we're living in that we wanted. So all of a sudden, as they say, we're woke. We're like, oh God, oh shit, what's going on? Well, now your eyes are open. You're no longer just, walk through the crowd like this, like Stevie Wonder. Your eyes are open. And you're like, oh God, what have I been walking through? Yeah. It's sad. So I don't think that's ever going to change. I think, once again, going back to my original point from the previous amendment, I think all this needs to go to artificial intelligence. And I think, kind of like putting in your order for a restaurant, your crime should be presented by your lawyer and a list of things and spit into the computer, and the computer spits out your bail and your sentencing or whatever it is based on the facts that are presented. Mm-hmm. There is no bullshit. There is no trying to wound over the jury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. Boom. And if people want to contest that, then it goes to the Supreme Court. But I think that's where this shit has to change, because if we're going to sit here and say the judges aren't biased.
Yeah, it's tough. We're all biased. Mm-hmm. Everybody's biased. You think you're not biased? You're biased.
Human element. You can never get rid of that.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's part of us. It's part of being a human. You know, we take our experiences, the things that happen to us, and we create a mental model. Like when I see strawberries, I get a rash. So guess what? I don't want strawberries. And you can implant whatever thing you want there. And when I see this happened to me in the past, well, when I see that again, I'm going to protect myself. And I don't know. And it's hard. It's human nature. It's being a human. Mm-hmm. But you have to recognize them. You have to understand. You have to be able to acknowledge, like, this is my bias. And are you going to work on it? Are you going to admit it? Are you going to run and hide or whatever? Like, we just got to own up to that shit.
It's easier for people to assume.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for people to just get through their day, because the one thing about this world we're living in right now, and you understand this by studying Stoicism and stuff, is that we're not living. We're existing. We're existing to go to work. We're existing to come home. We're existing to keep the roof over our head. We're existing to put our kids through a good school so that they could repeat the same existing cycle that we are in. And we don't breed enough entrepreneurism because a lot of people can't be entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people can't think for themselves. A lot of people can't speak up. A lot of people can't do the things that we think about and talk about a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's the shitty part about the world we're in now, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that lack of accountability and, you know, being open to admitting self-awareness. Yeah. That, hey, you know what? If I fix these limitations that I have, I could gain a lot more life back. I can then start to live a little bit. Mm-hmm. But we're taught to be afraid of ourselves. We breed a culture where bullying just pushes that even more. A lot of people we're told not to talk about depression. We're told about not to talk about our problems. So if we can't talk about depression and talk about our problems, how do we talk about admitting? Mm-hmm. Can't do that, right?
Yeah.
It's frowned upon. I want help, but nobody wants to hear it from me, but then they blame me for not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of part of the point of the show is we want to bring this attention and we want to bring this to light and let you know, like, think about these things, understand what's going on, and be okay with it. Back to one, speak up, be okay with being able to speak, being okay with these things. And you've got to, you gotta just be okay with what's going to happen. And you got to take the leap. You just got to fucking give it a chance. And unless you don't want to, but you've got to make that choice and not let it be thrust upon you or allow it to just consume your life or take over. Well, this is just the way shit is now. No, you can change tomorrow, any day, any moment, right now. We can just stop and change and go in the other direction.
Your job is to find balance. You can create the change in your head, but you also must be realistic. Mm-hmm. That the change in your head might not meet what's happening in the society of today. So you got to not create the whole world to be your heaven. You just got to carve out your little piece of heaven, which is how you think, how you react, and how you do certain things, knowing when to talk, when to defend, and when to shut the fuck up. You have to understand it, because the last one is very powerful. You could actually win more battles and be more prepared if you just shut the fuck up and listen with your eyes and just look and assess, and then come back with a better plan. Because your current plan might not be the best, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that, okay, I'm missing a little salt and pepper. You put a little salt and pepper on it, let me repackage it. Boom. Now we've got a stance. Now we've got something to build upon, because you have to understand, anger has a voice and voices want to sing. Mm-hmm. Problem is, people are deaf to those voices and they don't want to hear that song. So you have to find an approach that where you can get your point across in a way that they are willing to sit with their ears open and look at you and go, okay, I heard about 30% of what you said, and I like it. Yeah. They're not going to hear the whole thing, but them to hear you, That's the key, because you don't want people to sit there and start building a defense without you saying one single word. So when you make an argument, when you're trying to defend your Bill of Rights, when you're trying to defend your freedom of speech or religion or right to assemble and all this other stuff, you have to really script out what you want to do, and you have to think of this long term. There is no piece by piece and we're just going to build it as it goes. No, you have to have some sort of end game on this, and you have to understand that everything else in between, you might not have it all figured out, but if you have your end game figured out and you know where you want to go, every decision you make moving forward, you're going to shape it with that thought of your end game in mind. And you're going to make the right decisions, you make the right movements, and at some point your voice will be heard. But don't expect overnight shit to happen. It doesn't work that way. It's a process. And to be honest, I don't want to fill you guys up with Puff the Magic Dragon rainbow shit here, because that's not what we do. It may not come to fruition at all. All of your hard work may not add up to anything to other people. But if it made a difference for other people in your life, if it made an impact on other people in your life, you may not have won your freedom right then and there, but somebody else might have won their freedom 30 years after you've died because of what you've done.
Yeah.
That's what you have to think about as you decompartmentalize all of these issues of women's rights or transgender rights or, racial equity rights and all this other things. There's always power in movement, but you got to know how to move, right?
Yeah.
You understand the power too, because the people in charge, if you don't know them, you don't understand them, and they're leading your movement, you don't know if they're going to be like them. Because there's a lot of people throughout history that have done that. They have fought for the right cause, and the second they've got their position of power, they have forgotten what they were fighting for.
Yeah.
And it's no longer their cause.
Yeah. Power is very interesting.
Power, money, influence. Look at Braveheart, great movie. Perfect example on politics for the dumb one. If you really understand how politics works, that's how it goes. You know what? We don't want to have war. So what I'm going to do, I'm the king of England. I don't want to fight these scrubs in Scotland. Here, give them power, money, and land. They'll fuck off. Sure enough, we're not going to go to war anymore. Why? I just got 60 acres in fucking England. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
You know what the king gave me? She gave me 2 horses, 3 pigs, and fucking 30 gold coins. Fuck it. We're not fighting.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Oh, I became a sir now. I'm Sir Justin. Okay, so you don't have a movement anymore. But that's how this world works. People got to come to grips with reality and the truth of things, right?
Okay, on to 9. 9 is an interesting one. I don't ever recall this one, but here we go. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So basically, this one is just a blanket statement of, we're going to protect your rights. We don't have any idea what they all are. We're not here to list every single one out, but just know that we want to make sure that you're not denied, you're not or disparaged. I think this kind of backfired a little bit because we wound up having to do like the 13th and the 14th and like the 15th Amendment to give all these different people rights and all these things. We really had to spell them out. So this was supposed to be like a backstop. I kind of think it failed a little bit. I don't think there's really anything much to talk about necessarily with that one, unless you have anything to say.
No. I'm just real quick. This one represents the government.
Yeah.
Look, we wrote a bunch of shit that we don't fucking necessarily know. We kind of understand what we did, but you know what? Whatever. Just understand that we will protect you to some extent. And if we don't know, we'll look it up. That's what that fucking amendment means.
Right.
Welcome to the government. Welcome to the United States.
Yeah.
I think at that point, the joint was a little too low. They were drinking a little too much. Like, what's number 9? Fuck them. Just write something. We need 10. Fuck them. Here.
Yeah. Like I said, from what I was reading about it, it was trying to be a backstop for future rights that, like, listen, we're not going to name every single thing. Like, okay, but you guys get it, right? The government's not here to take your shit, and we're not here to mess with you. So that was interesting. And then moving to 10 here, the last one as far as the Bill of Rights is concerned. So the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution or prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectfully or to the people. So this is what this is trying to say is back then they didn't want big government. They didn't want a big overseeing thing. It was down to the states and the city states. It was really supposed to be a city state kind of thing. You guys handle your shit. Being in Congress, being in the Senate, there wasn't a career. You went over there for a few weeks. You came back home. You went on your farm. You did your shit because they understood that this big overarching, what we call now big government, wasn't a good idea. And what we're seeing here, with this whole thing is the government is taking back more and more and more control. Like we talked about earlier, especially which was very, very prevalent during this COVID, is the government wants you relying on them. We're gonna cause a problem and we're gonna give you the solution, and we're your savior. And it's something that we've got to really be really cognizant of, that these things are gonna get taken away. And what I ultimately see happening here is they make it easier to take away 1 and 2. And when 1 and 2 are gone, basically shut the fuck up. You can't defend yourself. Do what we say. You don't like it, we don't care. And that's when I think things are scary. And this is really the basis of this whole episode for me.
In summary, number 10 is powers reserved to the state.
Yeah.
And all that's saying is look, we fucked up. Yeah. We wrote a whole bunch of shit that maybe we shouldn't have written, but you know what? When it fits our narrative, when we think that a certain agenda needs to be fulfilled, we're going to protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's this, wake up, people. It's not about the people. It's about big business. It's about the government. It's about the right people that move money, that move, I guess you could say that move economies. Mm-hmm.
That's what they're trying to protect against. They're trying to protect against that big government and let your state do your thing. Your little town. We're way over here. We don't know what's going on in California. We don't know what's going on in Washington. You guys handle yourselves. You guys handle your own city. You handle your own thing. Overarching big things is all we want to tackle. You guys worry about yourselves. You guys live your lives and be free and merry.
But the problem with that is that when they wrote this, they only thought that it was going to be X amount of colonies, X amount of states. They did not see it getting this big, this out of hand, this many states, this many city governments, these many public officials. They didn't see it getting to this point because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
It was that time, that era. They were dealing with what they had. They're building a brand new country, which they were plotting and planning since the time of the Templars. Okay, this goes way back. This is not just a novel idea. Let's go to war with England and get the fuck off here and land on Mayflower and go fucking build another country. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. This took a lot of planning, but they wrote these generalities to make them different from Bill of Rights. Sorry, if people don't understand that, but they wrote these things to make themselves different from the British. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be different from the Church of England. They wanted to be different from the monarchy. Mm-hmm. And they didn't see it getting this big, this complicated, this difficult. They thought their new Rome was going to be Washington, D.C. and the 13 colonies, and that's it. Mm-hmm. The extent of it. And they were happy building that and letting everything else just fall into place. That's why it's like, you know what? We'll take care of the big stuff. All you smaller communities, you guys handle the petty shit. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But fast forward to now, 50 states, 50 different state governments. Yeah. Then you have the big government and you have the changing of guard all the fucking time. And I just think the corruption, it was a novel idea at first when they first created the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. They were all friends, all part of the same fraternity, all part of the Freemasons. They were all part of the plan. Mm-hmm. Now, not everybody's part of the plan.
Yeah, it's tough when you get power and you get money and you get, your agenda pushed. And it's hard to relinquish that.
This is. I mean, you can look at it from two different spectrums. This is government and this is crime organizations. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, when the crime organization gets too big for the power and for the money, there's too many hands to feed, too many mouths to shut up. Here's the problem. Yeah. And to protect their flow of money, because I'm sorry, there might be a couple politicians that fight for the people, but in all honesty, I think if you've been in politics for at least 8 years, it doesn't matter the form of it. You could be city council in Honolulu, or you could be in the House and the Senate in the government itself. Mm-hmm. I just think corruption is too widespread and none of them are fighting for themselves. I mean, fighting for the people.
Yeah.
They got in for the people. They're in for themselves now. And they will make the right partnerships to get the right votes because that is what lobbying is about. Mm-hmm. And that's why I am all for eliminating lobbying. Mm-hmm. I think lobbying should be banned. I don't think these government officials should be representing or being friends with these big business people who influence decisions based on money that we can't track.
Yeah, right? I think that's the spirit of this 10th Amendment, is to stop that and limit all that, because they knew that corrupting power from England and from France and from the European countries. They saw these things in Rome. They saw these things, in Asia and all these different places. They saw these problems.
It's a novel idea, like I said. The intention of those who wrote it, they had the right idea because, like I stated, they were all on the same page. Mm-hmm. They were all from the Freemason organization. Mm-hmm. They were all, at least majority of them, I should say. Yeah. And they all, and they're the ones with power now. The majority ones had the power and the push for the writing the Constitution, writing the Bill of Rights and all this shit. At the end of the day, they all followed the same system and they understood what power and corruption could lead to. But could they have seen what would happen now? Who can?
No, of course not.
They wrote it for their time. They thought maybe in the first half of the 1900s that we're going to have flying saucers already. Mm-hmm. We don't know, you know what I mean? So to fix that, they need to make things relevant, responding to today's times. And unfortunately, the government itself, from every level, like I said, from city council all the way up to Washington, D.C., they have become the thing they wrote to hate. They have become Rome. And at some point, Rome will eventually topple unless there is an agenda for them to stay in place, which goes back to this whole pandemic. Is this pandemic real? As far as the disease, yes. As far as the intent, me personally, and this is just my opinion, I just think this fits so many of the narratives that have been talked about over the last 30 years on how to devalue the money, but still maintain a stronghold of power in the world that other nations want us to be. Because why? Our dollar, our currency, and beyond all that, because that's just the curtain. The stage itself is our power and influence, okay, is what's backing all these countries. So United States, as far as Rome and falling into themselves, it won't happen, because if Rome had the backing of all the other civilizations that wanted to dethrone them, they would have stayed in power. Yeah. And they would still be in power. But back then it was savagery. Yeah. It's fuck you, fuck your nation. My guys are better, whatever, right? The Visigoths and the Cathars and all this stuff, we're fucking better than you guys. Today's time, it's about money. It's about power. It's about influence. So these guys know that we're going to put on a puppet show for everybody. I'm Russia, fuck the US, China, fuck the US, fuck Russia, fuck Syria. But behind the closed doors, it's like, okay, we did our part. Now, where's our money? Where's our infrastructure? How do we expand the New World Order? Because if we're sitting here thinking that the New World Order is going to happen, then you're pretty stupid, because New World Order has happened already. Money is just a piece of paper that somebody determines the value of. That's any currency in this world, whether it's a silver coin or gold coin, because we put value on gold. We put value on silver and bronze. Nobody else did. Yeah. We determined that. All that is just a chess piece. It's a little shiny thing that says, haha, I'm in power. And there's other things that drive the influence. So people have to wake up to that, which leads me, and this is all coming back to the Bill of Rights itself. When it was created with the intent of the founding fathers to keep their fraternity, to keep their stronghold, to maintain their balance, to say that if we stay strong and united, nobody can divide us. They feared division because the monarchy in England, that's what happened. People got tired of following church rule. They got tired, of following the monarchy, the rules. They got tired of that shit. Parliament. They said, you know what? Fuck it. death to the queen. We're going to move.
Yeah.
And they made their plan, and they moved to the U.S., quote unquote. But me being and being a historian itself too, there's a secondary theory that says that this whole United States thing was planned by the British. That's why, because the British had enough power to overrun us.
Yeah.
They had enough power to overrun us, but there are several key founding fathers that were prominent in the upper echelon of the British communities and bloodlines, and a lot of things happening here. Once again, politics that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
People have to understand that shadow games, all these different things, So am I worried about the Bill of Rights? Am I worried about things changing? A little bit. This pandemic has kind of brought that to light. Part of me is worried that, like that picture I showed you, Tyson, where, they're requiring us to wear masks now. At some point, they're going to force vaccinate us. That scares me because we really don't know what's in the vaccination. Yeah. And for some reason, I'm all about timing. I'm all about following the money. All of this lines up with 5G. All of this lines up with complete government power, world power, not just U.S. jurisdiction, Canada, China, world power. Why do people want to track us? Why do people want to follow us? Why do people want to have all of our information now on blockchain, now on artificial intelligence or on smartphones, right? You don't have to carry a wallet anymore. Just put it all on your smartphone. And look, like I said, I'm a big believer in coincidence, right? Look what happened in Texas. Power grid failed, right? And they've had another incident somewhere in the U.S. I can't remember. I read about this about a month ago or 2 months ago of another attack on the internet, right? A lot of businesses are experiencing that, right? Where people are hacking in and stealing their stuff, right?
Yeah.
Information. So these are the baby steps. These are all testing points.
Yeah, right.
Wake up.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I really hope people got out of not only just this episode, but of 2020 is how quick and easy it is for your human rights and your liberties to go away in a heartbeat. And not only that, like to me, the theme of this is it's all about safety. And it's hard to argue with safety, right? People don't, well, that doesn't sound good. But not only that, we just all bent over and allowed it to happen without ever questioning it. And if you did question it, you were shut up. The thing that really kind of, I guess I want to say disgusts me a bit is when you post something now, and this is just for COVID, but this is going to be the new normal, I think. When you post something related to a topic, they don't want a narrative that differs from them. They're going to have a little info box that says, this guy's a liar, this guy's an asshole, he's not telling the truth, look at our little box, we checked it out, please use our narrative and don't listen to this fool. And that is, you think it's just COVID? No, it's going to be a lot of things. It's going to be the things that happen now. You're going to have a little box and everything you have to say, saying you're a liar and you're wrong because you don't go along with what we say. And this was a dry run at how much liberties can we take away in a heartbeat? And they took them all away. And they're not trying to give them back. And I just want you guys to think about that. Are you okay with that? Did you make that choice? And if you did, hey, yeah, that's cool, man. It's your choice. I'm glad you made it. But don't allow the choice to be made for you. And don't stop to think. And just don't go along with your tribe. Go along with your group think or your political party, whatever you want to call it. That's the scary part.
And that's why I said, like I said, I supported Trump prior to him being president and getting in.
Yeah.
And then part of me was just disgusted on he was a puppet. That's what I feel. I felt that he was put in there for certain agendas and certain issues to be pushed forward. And now look, because of him, we have what you just talked about, this type of fact checking and censorship happening on social media. But at the same time, social media itself is just a theater of pain.
Oh, yeah.
The novel idea, there's two things behind social media. If you have a business when it first started, phenomenal. Right. Because it gave you access to a highway of foot traffic that would have cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Unprecedented, yes.
Right, for free.
Yeah, at first.
And even the advertising you have to pay now is still a fraction of of what you would pay on a billboard or in a TV ad or something like that, right? So there's one that I say social media is phenomenal. But social media right now is just filled with narcissism, arrogance, ego,
virtual signaling.
Also, it's a way for people to make up different narratives of themselves that I am popular. This is my way of an audience, and they want to hear from me. And you know what? I didn't want to speak on this, but I have to because everybody's expecting my opinion. Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody wants your opinion.
But people notice when they give their opinion, and it's the wrong opinion, they get run over and stampede without question, and then they cry about it. What happened to being, I'm the queen bitch? Ain't nothing going to slow me down.
You got to be the victim. Come on now.
Then the following week, oh man, so many people wrote about me and I just can't take this shit no more. And then the problem too is the social media sites itself not really strangleholding accountability. Look at how many times on Facebook Live people have streamed beatings, bullying, killing, suicide. So all of this innovation and whatever else, yes, the initial intent, novel idea to bring us closer together, to build better communication. But how do you build better communication if people don't know how to communicate?
Or not allowing the communication.
I just talked about this the other day with Kathy, is that a lot of people don't know how to communicate because they don't know how to read a book.
And we also, sorry to cut you off here, but the younger generation never talk to each other. They communicated through texting, through a writing medium. It's hard to have nuance and in the ebbs and flow of a conversation. So it's tough.
Right, and I can accept that argument, but I also, from my own experience, there's a lot of people between the age of 25 and 38, somewhere around there, that are students in school that don't know tonality in words, and I firmly feel that comes from reading books. That comes from taking the time and reading a chapter and understanding what the person said, which is why at a second grade level, teachers are asking students, what was the intent of what you just read? What was the author trying to convey? Because most students nowadays just go through the motion. They just read the words. They're not understanding what they're reading. They're not understanding the syntax, the context, anything of it. And that's why we lack communication, because they're seeing they're watching what's on TV. Number one, that's part of it. It's not the whole problem.
Sure.
And I hate these people that say it's always TV, it's always television programming. No, that's part of the problem. The other problem is, like I said, going back to, you need 2 things to confirm out of 3, right? Is when they go and hear their parents talk, hear their aunties and uncles talk, the conversations these people are having, or that they sit through with their parents when the parents are talking to other people, it's not giving them a good sense of communication. They don't know how to provide empathy or sympathy, which is why a lot of high school and colleges are trying to teach empathy. They're trying to have people understand that if you just listen to the words and understand a whole bunch of other things, such as the person, their background and whatnot, you will see their intent behind what they're saying. Perfect example, Key and Peele, the comedians. If you ever watch their skit on YouTube about text messaging, it's a perfect example. Key is typing something to Peele, and he says something where it's like, hey, meet you at the club. And then Peele goes, K, just types in the letter K. And Key gets upset. He's like, this motherfucker. I put K. He's just assuming what's being said. Hey, I'll meet you at the club. Yeah, I'll handle my business later. Oh, that motherfucker. That's how people are nowadays. We're not taking the time to talk. It's more than just coming together. It's really about Bridget Jones. When they told her before she went to her party that you should read up on some articles and just to have some sort of footing in conversation when you get there. That is game planning. You want to have conversations, discussion questions. You have to have something ahead of time that can articulate with people that says, okay, this is a tennis match. I volley to you, you volley to me. We're going back and forth, and I'm building. It's an exercise for me to build a skill on how to navigate a room on how to talk to certain individuals. Because if you think you can take your vanilla piece of paper and talk to the same fucking person the same way with the same sort of subject, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You and I, because we were taught this at a young age, I was put into a room that had high-end military officials, people that had a lot of money, and people that were poor. And I had to navigate the room person by person and prejudge how I'm going to approach the topic. If I'm just going to come in and listen and laugh a little bit and then talk, if I'm going to go, hey, Senator, how you doing? So-and-so, blah, blah, blah. But it takes work. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with this generation, work. They're trying to find the easiest solution to make the most money without understanding that anything in life that is foundational, that is sturdy, sustainable, takes work. Emphasis on that, work. If you don't want your Bill of Rights taken away, read up on it, understand it, but also understand how the world is operating. There's a lot of kamikaze shit going on. There's a lot of cops that maybe in a big metropolitan city area, you're going to be fine because they follow the rules. But if you in the country and the sheriff is one of four and it's a small, tight-knit community and you don't belong there, don't run your fucking mouth. In fact, you shouldn't even be there. And that's the other problem I have too with this generation. They feel that, well, I have a car, I have a vehicle, I have something, I can travel anywhere. I can go to any place because I have that freedom. No, you don't. There's a lot of small areas in these cities and states that you don't belong there. Mm-hmm. It's not because you're a tourist. It's because they like their own kind.
Yeah.
They're used to living a certain way for 50, 60, 70 years, and they don't want shit happening. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
We've been uptown of 1,000 people. We know everybody. We all went to the same high school. And all of a sudden, here comes these two tourists driving through because they saw it on the Food Network that Jimmy Bob's is the best barbecue. Yeah. No, get your barbecue and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
No bed and breakfast, none of that. But that, now, of course, we're going to sit here and go, but that's not right.
Right.
That's not right. But that's how
reality
operates. So pick and choose your battles. Mm-hmm. Be smart about things, Yeah. That's all I would recommend on that.
Yeah, no worries. And that was fun. It was great to kind of talk through this. So that's all 10 guys. That's everything. I hope you, if not learn something, at least taking away the ability to, I want you to sit down and think and stop and make decisions for yourself. We talked about a lot of things. There was a great Meat Eater article they talked about 3 things you need to know about President Biden's gun orders. I really enjoyed the article. I think it was very well thought out. I'll link to that. There's a great, like I said earlier in the show, documentary kind of thing, series on Netflix, Amend. It's about the 14th Amendment. Very, very well done. I think it was very well researched and well shot and stuff. I think they did a good job with that. I'll link to that if you guys are interested in kind of going down this kind of road. The 14th Amendment is really a lot of the foundational stuff. It helps tie in a lot of these things that kind of were missing. Kind of tried to what the 8th Amendment tried, the 9th Amendment tried to do. I think 14th was really where it kind of hit it home. I'll link to the Bill of Rights from the source I liked, as well as the Wikipedia one as well. That was great. I'll link to whatever other podcast, different things we had there. And then to kind of, as we wrap this up here, I want to issue a challenge. So this week's challenge, I want you to stop and think about, what does freedom mean to you? Not what your tribe thinks or is the popular opinion. Are you okay with your rights to speech, assembly, protest, firearms, privacy, and so on going away? Is this the country you want for yourself in the future? Take some time and have a deep discussion with yourself and how you want to shape your freedoms. And then Justin, I wanted you to, if you had anything else to say to kind of final thoughts to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I'll just leave the audience with this. Look, I want people to understand that I'm not saying don't fight for what you believe in. I'm just saying that the game has changed. You can't just go out your window and scream anymore. If you really believe in it, it's something that you are compelled to do. It's not only your passion, but you're driven to do this. Then find a way to live it out. It may never come to fruition. It may never come to completion, but you might be one leg in a 4-man race. And the leg that you provide might keep you in the competition or might put you ahead of the competition. And whoever finishes the fourth leg 30, 40, 50, 60 years down the line, your descendants, the people in the future will be able to benefit from it. But find your voice and be smart about it. Everything in life takes work, takes planning, takes organization. And if you are highly organized and you play this game like chess and you're thinking 3 moves ahead, you will be adequately prepared. Now, it's great to stay positive. It's great to just stay focused on the big window in the car and not the rear view. But in truth, you have to have some sort of contingencies. You have to have a massive plan if you want to fight for your freedom, fight for something you believe in, and all these other things. So just take that to heart, that I'm not discouraging you from doing that. I'm just saying don't jump on a cause because it's a novel thing to do and because everybody else is doing it. If you really want something to happen and you want it to come to fruition, fight with the right tools. Arm yourself with education. I don't care where you get your education from, just get educated. Mm-hmm. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your time. It's going to cost you your patience. It's going to cost you opinions from other people. That's fine. Critics exist for a reason. But what you're searching for is the critics. It's the people that give you the critiques, that tell you this is how you improve your process, improve your thinking. And I think if we can do that, we can be in a lot better place, better shape 10, 15, 20 years down the line. For me, the last point I want to bring up is communication. If people dove more into books than they did into the TV itself, even documentaries and whatnot, read books. Not only are you going to gain an education, you're going to be more confident about yourself, but also you're going to possess a knowledge, a tool that's going to allow you to talk and converse with people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and don't be afraid to approach. Long time ago, I was doing Uber, I was doing Lyft, all this rideshare stuff. And the power of that job was not the money because it was piss poor. The power of that job was the ability to have somebody in my car that was 2 to 3 feet away from me that came from different backgrounds. And I had between 5 and 35 minutes to talk to them, to strike a conversation. And if you want to be a salesman, you want to learn how to be a better businessman, practice your elevator pitches in that type of environment where you have a compressed amount of time to talk to people. And you'll be surprised how I got people to communicate. I always ask them, hey, how's your day going? Everything all right? Everything fine? Just being nice like that, people open up and say, wow, thank you. Nobody's ever asked me that. And next thing you know, where you're from, what do you do? They drop their biases. They drop their wall. It's not going to work all the time, but majority of the time it will be. So with that, focus on those things, and fight for what you believe in and stay awake. Not woke, stay awake. Yes. Keep your eyes open and focused. That's all you can do, man.
Perfect. Hey, thanks guys for sticking around. This has been a long one, but it's an important conversation. It's a conversation we need to have. We need to keep having these conversations, have these civil conversations with your friends, with your families, with your colleagues. If this show is a help to you, please share it with 2 other people. I think this is really going to spread the message. And it starts in your community, it starts in your village, and then your village can move out. And that's how we start a movement. In between shows, you can connect with us all week long on Social Chameleon Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, if you like what we got going on here, you can subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. For past episodes and links to everything we talked about here today, you can visit the socialchameleon.show. And until next time, keep learning, growing, and transforming into the person you want to become.